disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Testing one. All right, fine. Sorry about that. I missed the cue there. My sound system here went off. But hey, welcome everybody to another beatboxing podcast. Listen, enough prevarication. You know the drill. Hit the like, subscribe. We're gonna be opening up the phone lines within the next 25 minutes to 30 minutes, maybe even less. Depends on how it goes. But man, we just had Gennady Golovkin in what started out as a tough fight against Murata, and Murata made it tough, standing up to what Golovkin brought. But like it often happens with a lot of these guys. You just can't stand up or stand in front of fucking Golovkin and expect him not to wear you down. I've got Gonzalo here dropping by. Gonzalo, man. First of all, shout out to everybody in the chat room real quick. Olaf Larson, Spanish Conquistador, Michael Stock, Giuseppe La Roca, Rex, Iron Fist, TFM, Sir Irwin, Brian Montes, Azix, Pound for Pound King, and more people to come. I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Gonzalo, man. Curious to hear what you thought about this fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight, BDA. Salute to everybody. It's not such a solemn moment, you know. It's almost like were we getting ready to go to a funeral, thinking that but fortunately, that's just the way it is for a guy so blessed with punching power and a great chin that he survived to fight another day. It was a good fight, you know, but context is key. Fighters come out with the strategy and game plan. It's a 12-round fight. Yeah, you come out firing away like Murata, thinking that you're going to impose your will on the guy in front of you, GGG, who's not just an ordinary guy. You're going to hold your ground and get tough with the tough guy, see if you can break him down. But he was riding a chick that his ass couldn't catch, because right around the fourth or fifth round, I believe GGG landed a shot that, just like you mentioned, people think they can stand up to his firing power, but then you get hit with a shot that you never felt before in your life. You keep saying, did you see white, BDA, that when you get it, I usually see black. You know, it's fighters, I don't know, they get hit with GGG type of power. They see something that they never encountered before. Yeah, for a fighter, for a boxer, and in their entire careers. And, you come out, that's strong, guns are blazing, but context is everything. Yeah, Murata looked good. But you come out that strong, you're not going to last because you're going to wear out. And the other fighters ebb and flow, especially two come forward fighters that are exchanging punches that, you're going to catch something too. And what I liked about GGG was the fact that I think this is something that I have to attribute to Jonathan Banks, that the second punch that he's landing is just as having the same effect as much as the first one. And this has got to do a lot with timing and the fact that he realizes that he's such a heavy-handed guy that when he touches you with the first punch, that the first punch is going to stun you, that he has the split-second opportunity, that window, to land a second. So, like, if you're doing drills and you understand something about yourself, that after you land the first punch, you got that split second to land the second, man, Triple G discovered that about himself. Yeah, if I hit somebody with my first one, I could certainly touch you with the second one. And the second one is just as quick as the first. So he's stringing he's coupling these two punches together excellently. It was a good fight, good showing. Yes, Murata looked great, but context is everything, like I said. You can't keep doing that for 12 rounds. And sooner or later, GGG mounted he got his first win going, or his second win, what have you.
Yeah, it's interesting because he was doing good. What's his name? Murata early on. He was going to the body. And like the commentators were saying, Golovkin did look perturbed a little bit by those body shots. But like you and I were saying, you stand in front of Golovkin, you do so at your own peril. And that was why all of us, I think, I don't have the official picks here because I lost the file. But we all said Triple G by a late fight stoppage. Now, I think most of us said 10 or 11. So we were off by a round. But nevertheless, look, we've seen enough Golovkin to know if he fights this certain type of fighter, this is the way it's going to go. The only X factor here was the age. And it seemed to show a little bit in the beginning, but then we got Jimmy, by the way, jumping by. Jimmy, let me ask you this, first of all. Did it seem to you like Golovkin is juiced or on another type of juice? Because he looked fucking ripped and strong, man.
Yeah, he looked, when you're out of the ring that long, he might have been focusing a lot on weight training to strengthen up, especially if he was planning on, if the next fight is Canelo, it's going to probably be obviously 168. So he was probably, really working on building up his upper body. But it wouldn't be steroids. Like I said, it'd be growth hormone. Steroids are a waste of time for boxers. You want to keep the gains you make, and he can afford the good shit. So it would have been growth hormone if that's the route he went down. But, yeah.
Because he looked ripped and as big as ever, and even more ripped. So
as you get older, your muscles get denser too. Remember, I said before, I've said many times, bodybuilders always look their best between 38 and 44. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
if you ever say their muscles always your muscle doesn't stop growing till 38. As a man,
Jimmy,
your skeletal structure. Yes, what's that, brother?
Sorry, I was just going to throw in there real quick. And I mentioned that, and this is true, that in the military, because I was in the Army, that when you do push-ups, the scale for the chart is divided into 3 age groups. The older you get, you're expected to do more push-ups, and that number goes up. So as the older you get, you kind of get stronger. That old man strength is true. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're excellent point, brother. It's true. Your muscle density, and even in powerlifting competitions, like most guys who break their powerlifting records, a lot of them in their 30s and sometimes late 30s. It just takes, your structure, muscle structure doesn't stop growing until then. Your bone structure and stuff stops usually by like 18 to 21, which is weird. But
Jimmy, we were talking about how he looked and how he looked a little shaky early on when Murata went all out early on, guns blazing, but then he just got worn down. What did you think of the fight, man?
Well, he felt that the first time I saw a punch, like a body punch early physically, I felt like in the first round, he caught Triple G with a shot to the belly, but momentarily stopped him for a second, like in his tracks. Like, I'm like, oh, he felt that. They might have caught him on the breath, breathing out, because he definitely was like, you could see the muscle density more on Triple G, like you said. His punches might even be a little harder, because it seemed like everything he was hitting that kid with, you walk into the corner at the end of the first round, he was like, whoo, kind of stretched his eyes, like, it's that face people have the first time they feel his jab, like, wow, that fuck kid hits hard. And You know what I mean? That look they get, like when they put that kid down and his face went woo, like holy shit. So yes, his power is there, but the speed isn't. The timing, it just seemed a little slower. I mean, Canelo and that dude he fought this morning are fucking completely on different ends of the spectrum. You know what I mean? On like ring generalship, intelligence, speed. Canelo is one of the hardest guys to hit clean upstairs because his movements at the waist. I don't know, man. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, "Oh yeah, this is." I still don't think he should be fighting again, but that's just my personal opinion. I'd like to see him retire. There's plenty of young dogs Canelo can feast on.
Or well, that's a good point. And I will say this though, you're absolutely right. Golovkin did look slower, which is to be expected from a guy who was never a speed demon before, and he was always slower. But here's the thing, man. There was for a 40-year-old, he just backed up and stopped a big power puncher in Murata, and maybe Canelo stops him. But I'm still dubious of that prediction because Canelo's a guy that shoots. He's very economical with his shots. He's not a guy that's going to go balls to the walls. He tried it 3 years ago. Well, actually, it's going to be 4 years now in the second fight against Triple G.
Exactly.
Right. But then again, though, it's been 4 years, right? That's the thing, though. Like Golovkin, if a lot can change between 36 and 40. So it's, I don't know, that the age is going to be the question. But I tell you this, Jimmy and Gonzalo, for as long as the fight goes, Triple G, Canelo, the Robert match, if it happens, it's going to be hell for Canelo for as long as it goes. It's not going to be easy.
Oh, yeah. He'll give him a harder fight than Canelo. Charlo will. I guarantee you that. And probably even Benavidez. It'd be a tougher fight. And I'm not sure Canelo stops him. I think it would be probably go 12 rounds, but at that age, you could end up really putting a beating on him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He could take a lot of big shots. Sorry, Gonzalo, what were you saying?
He did look rusty. Okay, we can't just chalk it up entirely to age. Okay, let's say he got rusty. He hasn't been staying limber at chivalry. No way. It's like So once he gets out of the way now with this, and then he just gets his engine going again. Okay, that might smooth out a little bit. He might iron out those rust issues where we can't say he's like entirely like slow. In the intervals with his punching. Yeah, then the back and forth, he does look a little aged, but when he's coupling the punches together, I saw the second punch just as fast as the first. Did you guys see when he would touch Ryoto Murata with the first punch? Like, let's say it's a looping right hand. He touches Ryoto Murata on the top of the cranium, and that punch would freeze Murata so much that split second, Golovkin realizes that he's got that window of an opportunity to throw that punch right after the first punch. So he can couple the two punches together relatively quickly. I saw that. Now, in the intervals and the exchanges, when one guy shoots, and it's your turn to shoot back and forth, he does look like a dinosaur. I'm not going to say he doesn't. But throwing two punches together, man, he's just as fast as anybody else because he utilizes the timing. It's like doing the rehearsals, the drills. He understood something in his mind. If I'm Golovkin and if I put my first hand on you, I can land my second hand because you're going to be so stunned with my first hand that the second hand is there for me to land. I saw that tonight. That was good.
Interesting. Yeah, that's true. And you know what else I liked from Golovkin was how he was able to pick off those straight shots. That was Murata's main weapon here. And he actually had more success, at least partially touching the target when he would loop those shots and to the body. Listen, that's always been the take on Golovkin is since he doesn't move around that much, doesn't retreat that much, the body's there. And Murata was throwing some big body shots, but then here's the problem with Golovkin. Yeah, he's there to be hit to the arms, body, whatever. Now it's a question of whether you can affect them. And at 40 years old, this guy's still built like an ice cube, like a fucking glacier, and you can't really move him. So.
Yeah, he is, and nobody will ever take that away. That kid is tough as nails. He can take a beating, and he has that classic looking. See how his head's always tilted down, and he's looking through the tops of his. I mean, that's just properly trained. He looks through the tops of his eyelids. You know what I mean? So he's catching most of the shots. Kind of, his face is at that angle. So if it catches him, it kind of bounces off his forehead. Yeah, he can take a beating. That kid is just. You can tell he don't miss the neck exercises. He doesn't miss that day. He doesn't skip those days.
Yeah, and people kind of like say, oh well, he looked old. Murata won 4 rounds, and he gets marked up. No, he marked up Murata.
Gonzalo, you still there?
Yeah, he landed a punch in the first round that messed up the bridge of Murata's nose. And thereafter, if GGG takes a solid punch that, you look like he's hurt, he'll soak that up and return fire. For him, he's comfortable playing that role. Oh, yeah, you hit me. Okay, let me soak it up and let me retaliate. And as a spectator, you might say, oh, man, GGG's getting touched up. He's getting hit so bad that, can he come back from this? But if GGG got hit really bad by him, he's going to hit the other guy worse. It's like the Deveryachenko fight. Oh, yeah, GGG got messed up. So what? GG didn't mess up Deveryachenko as well?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Sorry, go, brother.
No, go.
Oh, no. Finish your thought. Okay, you want me to go? Okay, well,
yeah, you go.
All right. All right, sorry, go, brother.
No, go, Jimmy. Go, man. Come on, let's go.
Okay, all right. Just for instance, it was a guy. I mean, these people who were going to say that about Triple G Gonzalo, to your point, the same people who are going to say that are the same people who are arguing that Charlo didn't really look that bad against Montiel. Now think about that. Think about the people you're supposed to beat. Triple G has always beat him and almost always stopped him, right? He fucking ended Derenchenko. They can say he didn't stop him, but he ruined his career. Was over after that beating he took. He was never the same. You know what I mean? Never the same. He was not the same fighter who fought Charlo. He was the one who stepped in the ring that night against G. That fucking aged him big time. But that was still, if the abstract of it, he put a beating on that Japanese kid. I mean, the trainers, listen, they don't throw the towel in unless they know something and they know their fighter. They know he was fucking hurting, and they flung that towel in quickly.
Oh yeah,
the Japanese the Japanese are not known to be throwing in the towel. Real quick, Gonzalo, let me just read a couple of super chats here. Shout out to Paper Tiger for his contribution with the super chat. He says Golovkin bends his body away from body shots, doesn't look good, but he doesn't take the full power. Yeah, Piper Tiger, that's a good point. He's a wily character there. He takes the sting of certain shots and he takes deep breaths because I do think he gets affected by the body shots, but I also think it's like somebody told me way back, before the Canelo fight, is that some old technique where you take a body shot and then you take a deep breath. Apparently that's something they teach over there in Central Asia, whatever you want to call it. So shout out to Paper Tiger for his contribution. Shout out to Nicholas Argyros for his contribution as well with the super chat. He says, open the phone lines, please. Give us a couple of minutes, man. Give us about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get our thoughts out because I know we got a lot to say too. But yeah, we're going to be opening in about 15 minutes. All right, so shout out to you guys.
To that point, the reason why you suck in air like that is you want to expand your rib cage the fastest you can. If you can take in air after a body shot, it's not going to take your legs out. It's just a weird thing. It is. It's an old thing they always teach. Try to right away after a body shot to engulf some air. Take air in. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Murata did look good for the first 4 rounds because in the 5th, he got hit with something, and we all keep mentioning us boxing heads that when GGG touches you with a certain type of punch that you never felt before in your life, you react differently. He got hit with something right around the 5th round that he didn't look alive for the 5th or 6th. He tried to mount a brief comeback in the 7th, but he was pretty much done after that. If you come out guns a-blazing and pretty much you're preparing for a 12-round fight, but you're condensing all that stamina in 6 to where you're going to come sprinting to a marathon, yeah, you're going to look great, but in the end of the day, you're not going to make it to the final bell. So, yeah, you can look good for 4 rounds, but it's a 12-round fight, and you go in there trying to take out the lion. He got that look. I'm trying to take out that old lion. He had that look. All I got to do is last tough with him and take his shots, then I can get the best of him. He's going to wear it, but that didn't happen. He got hit in the 5th round, Jimmy, with the punch that reset his clock, and then the mouth.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
The mouthpiece came flying out, and after that, it's a rapper dapper.
But you know, Gonzalo, you know in which time that technique worked out of starting early, and it barely worked out, but it did work out. Corrales Castillo, because Castillo used to start off slowly and then build momentum. So Corrales said, "Okay, I'll start quickly, so I'll take away your second wind," and it almost worked with a little trickery too there with the mouthpiece. But yeah,
That's
you're
right,
right.
BDA. That's right, BDA.
You're right, though. Yeah, it's a rhythm thing too, huh? It's interesting. Can I just read the super chat here? Shout out to Chris K for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Clear decline now. Triple G should retire on a win, but it's still up for a third go. He's still up for a third go at Canelo. Riordan felt funny at the last shot. Queen Ryan first twink champion." So why do we keep talking about Ryan Garcia? We're talking about Golovkin, man. But shout out to Chris K for his contribution. And don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. So, hey, guys, let me ask you this, because people are begging us to open the phone lines. We're going to do that in about 10 minutes. But I want to get your thoughts on anything you want to say. And also, what do you think about Golovkin versus Charlo? Like this version of Golovkin that we just saw against the Charlo that fought Montiel and is going to be taken on the Zulensky. How do you guys think that goes? Or that would go?
I think Triple G, Gennady Golovkin knocks him out because Charlo's a counterpuncher, but he's a little more upright than Canelo. He's not going to exhibit the waist movement. So GGG will understand once he hurts Charlo, he'll go for the kill. He's not going to throw punches as much as he would against GGG, because against Murata, there was something that Murata did in the 7th round where he sagged at the waist, he dipped at the legs, and GGG threw a big haymaker and he missed. Canelo would most likely dip those punches, but not Charlo. Charlo's more upright, and he's a counterpuncher. He's going to let his hands go sparingly, and when Triple G hurts Charlo, GGG's not going to care. He's just going to keep pressing like Montiel did, Cochelito's cousin, and he's just going to break him down. It's not about just appearances. It's about doing the damage and putting and taking the dude out. He will decapitate his ass.
Whoa. Well, first of all,
I agree. I think if he was to fight Charlo next, he'd stop Charlo. Absolutely. Because Charlo doesn't eat. Listen, Triple G was going into that kid's power. He was turning into his power. I'm saying to myself, man, this dude has so much fucking, confidence is his chin. Usually, he can obviously spin out to the left, but he was turning into that guy's power right from the beginning. He didn't even I'm like, wow. So he knew, but he obviously turned himself into that position. It was going to put him in a better position to land his power. So he didn't even care. Like, basically, it's saying, I know I'm going to take some big shots. I'm putting myself in a position to take big shots to give one. Charlo's, like you said, is not that fighter, Gonzalo. He's a counter guy. He's not going to sit there and try to do that. And, again, I think Charlo's never been hit. Just even look at anybody. Montiel might be, got a little snap to his punches, but nothing. Even 40-year-old Triple G cracked Charlo harder than he's ever been hit by anybody. And and he's just not a fighter. And I think he would get pounded out.
And that jab.
And even if he got pushed back against the ropes, PDA, he wouldn't be able to bend at the waist to get out of the ropes or to.
Gonzalo, when you hear when you hear the super chat alert, just keep going, man. Don't stop.
Okay. Yeah, but it's kind of hard for you to hear me when the chat is going.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So that's basically it. It's like, Charlo's tough. Don't get me wrong. He would shell up and get against the ropes and probably stave off some punches and hold his guard up high and take some punishment and expect to counter. He would also want to counter GGG back as soon as GGG is finished throwing. That would be his game plan. But I think that GGG would bully him in that position where ultimately he would just break through his guard and beat him down. That's why I meant decapitate. He would take no shit. It's not like Charlo's got so many wrinkles to his game that GGG wouldn't be able to see past that. On sheer will, punching power, and that chin to close the space alone.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point, Gonzalo. And it's from a technical standpoint, I agree. I think he would beat Charlo even right now. Andrade, that's the one I'm dubious now because he is slower and his timing might not be there, whereas he could catch slick fighters before like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Now, though, I don't know. But that jab is still something that would serve him well against long-range fighters. Shout out to Mike T for his contribution to the super chat. He says, Golovkin looked old, but will still obliterate whack-ass Charlo, and Ryan will be the first ladyboy champion. Oh, come on. People are going in. People are going in on poor Ryan. Tomorrow. And shout out to Frosty the Gerber, who gave a super chat. No message, but shout out to Frosty, and that's a good-looking dog there. And shout out to Mike T as well for their contribution, guys. Really appreciate it. We've got... go ahead, Jimmy, yeah.
No, I was saying Ryan Garcia catches. Man, people got the pilot on that kid.
Hey, Paulo, last night, Paulo was right, man. That's what's going to happen with the pretty boys in boxing. They're always going to have it hard. They're always going to have something to prove in this macho sport. We got Chief dropping by. Chief, give us your breakdown, because we got to open up the phone line soon. But yes, please, good to hear from you, man.
Oh, by all means, bring the callers on. But good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for having me. It's such an unusual hour for
morning, Chief.
Usually, and highlights are all I've been able to catch so far.
Oh, come on.
Seriously, I don't have DAZN, so I usually catch the highlights until DAZN releases the actual fight. So what I did notice with, just like you guys were saying, he looks old. He catch the Canelo fight and survive to provide for your family for the severance pay, but don't count on a long career after this. You're almost done. And it pains me to say that because you guys know how much I've always loved Golovkin fight, but and it's not that I think that Murata was a second-rate fighter. I think he might be just under the Charlos as far as world-class competition, and they're obviously world-class fighters with the titles they have. But Triple G 3 years ago, let alone the one that fought Canelo in both fights, wouldn't have even looked like he was worried or exhausted. That stale look on his face in this fight wouldn't have even appeared that many years ago. He would have just dusted this guy in a short amount of time or given him a severe beating. And the highlights I saw were give and take. That it was challenging. He had to really dig deep for this. This guy wasn't on his level 5 years ago. So congratulations to him. Good luck against Canelo, but don't push this too long. You're going to get hurt.
Well, at least we know that if Canelo wins his fight against Bivol, it's going to happen this year. So it's not like it's going to happen 3 years from now. So that's, they're doing it right now. But yeah, it's true. Listen, I know the Canelo fans are going to like this, but the fuck was he waiting 4 years to fight Golovkin? First he says, I don't want to give him the rematch because it's personal. Now he wants to rematch him because it's personal. No, listen, it's because it's 4 years later. And now you know that it's going to
exactly.
Good. You know what I mean? Come on, let's keep it real.
You want to know, anytime someone says that we should have the 10th round, the end of the 10th round on a loop, why did he, Canelo, why did he wait 4 years and press that and watch that shot? Watch Canelo do the fucking crip rock back to his corner. And he was rocked. Rock him that bad? He waited, okay, I'll wait another 4 years. He waited him out 18 months to give up his belt, fought him, went to Germany, took fucking growth hormone, came back and got rocked so bad, waited another 4 years. Talk about, that's what pisses me off when I watch Triple G fight, the length people have gone to either avoid him. I understand that it to me, it's almost an affront that Charlo's even mentioned in Triple G's name. Because again, 4 years ago, Triple G would walk in the room and Charlo would be looking at the tops of his shoes. Do. You kidding me? He wouldn't even say his fucking name. But now he's 40 years old. Everybody wants to crack at the old man. Bullshit.
Well, 4 years is a long time, man. It's like every 4 years I restart a new life. It's like the benchmark for me starting all over again. Get new shit, build over again.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm going to mute myself.
Boxing Chief, I don't think Murata had ever been stopped before. So that the type of pace that Murata came out looking to take out the whole line, yes, he did win some rounds. But and yes, the GGG got touched up. But also, yes, GGG came back and pretty much got the best of Murata. Murata wrote a check that his ass couldn't catch, but in the end of the day, he got knocked out for the first time, I believe.
And that Japanese is a big kid.
He is
a big dude for middleweight. He's a big dude.
He's a big guy. He's a big, strong guy. He walks people down, kind of like what Tim Tszyu can do at 154. I'm not doing this to hype up Tim Tszyu. I'm making a parallel here. And the parallel is the fact that that's his style. He's big, he's strong, he walks people down. And at this age, he was being effective on walking Triple G, I won't say down, but walking at him, taking it to him. And Gonzalo, you're completely right. He's referring back to Triple G, great champion. He is a great champion. Still now he's a great champion because at 40 years old, when he's definitely past his best, he dug deep and came back and won. So I'm not taking anything away from what you just said because you're completely right. But long term, let's look at something else. Let's rewind back to his first defense or one of his first 3 defenses against Qasim Uma. That was a slugfest. And Uma's a decent puncher, or at least even though he was past his best days, he was on a losing streak, he could still punch.
And he had a hell of a chin
for a long time. Go ahead.
And he had an iron chin. He was renowned for that.
He did have an iron chin. But iron chins, you shoot a BB at a tank enough times, it'll eventually dent.
Exactly. And that's my point.
It may not crack it, but it'll dent.
And that's my point too. But
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, so the thing about Golovkin is if you have a good chin, that's actually worse for you because it's only going to prolong the beating if you don't have the skills to match up. And look at Uma. He looked Asian in that at the end of that fight. He was all swollen up.
And physically, and the calendar, he wasn't. And that's the point. You have an iron chin, and you're validating what I'm trying to say and putting in words for me. I appreciate that, BDA. When you have that iron chin, and Gonzalo, I'll let you go in just a second. I'll mute myself. But when you have that iron chin and you take that abuse, that early in your career, you have 250 amateur fights. You've had 40 professional fights. You're 40 years old. I love Golovkin. I would love to see him come back and have a Cinderella story of beating Canelo and riding off in the sunset. I just don't see it happening, and I don't want to see him get hurt.
I agree with you guys partially, but I have to say that, yeah, when you have an iron chin, yes, you could take more of a beating that you're supposed to, that it could ultimately end up damaging you permanently. But also, when you couple that with, you have not just an iron chin alone, you have iron chin and punching power that buys you time to land your own power. Because obviously the other fighter's going to land his shots too. But if you can take what he gives you, but then also realize that obviously as a fighter, you're going to get your chance to throw your firepower back, especially since he just threw his. When you react to what he threw, if you could sustain what he throws you, man, can the other guy take what you're dishing out? That's all I'm saying.
That's a good question. But Gonzalo, what's coming down to is you're talking about the battle and I'm talking about the war. But you're completely right on the battle. He can do that and it can help him. But I'm talking about when we want to see him in the Hall of Fame and he's not drinking out of a straw or talking to me like Terry Norris did when I met him at the Hall of Fame in 2007, which broke my heart, by the way.
He never. Okay, this is one thing that I have a hard time throwing GGG under the bus. I'm never gonna do that with one of my favorite fighters, whether it's Pacquiao, GGG, even Canelo. I like Canelo too. But this is the thing: GGG doesn't just have a great chin and great punch, a good chin and a good punching power. He has a great chin and great punching power. It's not just a B plus or it's an A plus, A plus. When you got those two intangibles, when you need 3 or 4 things out of only so many things to be a world champion, but those two things are better than everybody else's. I have a hard time dismissing him.
Well, listen, let's see what people have to say, man. Let's open up the phone lines.
Just to Chief's point, it's and to Gonzalo, we're not it's not degrading him or putting him down to say age, man. Age that's undefeated. You know what I mean, brother? Nobody can. Age beats everybody, and it's just I understand when I'm kind of in Chief's camp where, I think we already know who he is. Like Gonzalo, we know who he is. I just hate the fact that it's the people. Anyways, I just wish you kind of just rode off after this win, but we'll see what happens. And like you said, regardless, even if he doesn't, he's still going to be Charlo's toughest fight. I mean, the biggest chance to get hurt because he hits harder than Bivol does. I'll tell you that right now. He doesn't have to go to 175.
Well, one final point before they open up the phone lines that I have to mention, and just to drive this point home to the ground, because I've already said it 2 times, but I'm going to reiterate it one more time again. When GGG lands his first punch, and I saw this is what I was looking for. How did he change with Jonathan Banks? When GGG lands his first punch, he stuns his opponent that much that he can clearly land the second punch at will. And I think this is the game plan. He understands that. He'll touch you with the first one that is almost like a drill. He's not holding back on trying to get defensive while throwing the second punch. He'll throw the first one and he'll couple the second punch right after that. And he lands it all the time and very quickly. It's a thing of beauty. And even though he's old and he's slow, that second punch is just as fast as the first one. And he was landing it at will. That was the beautiful thing I picked up on.
You know, to that point, shout out to Paper Tiger, because he says, guys, watch the last 10 seconds of round 10 of the Canelo Golovkin rematch. Canelo looked dead. Shout out to Paper Tiger for his contribution. I wouldn't say that Canelo looked dead, but that's the round where his corner told him, look, stop trying to stop this guy. Because Canelo's a crazy motherfucker too. He's got an iron chin too. And he said he really thought, hey, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to stop this guy. Neither of those guys are going to stop each other. They're too equal. And speaking of equal, I'm surprised at this. Bucha just put up a poll here on the YouTube chat, who wins the Canelo Golovkin rubber match. It's 50. Okay, now it's 51% Canelo, 48% Golovkin. But man, I'm surprised people still think it's that close. I would say 60-40 for Canelo. I still think Golovkin gives him a heck of a fight. But apparently, now it's 50-50. Jeez, Luis, what the fuck? All right. And by the way, we're going to go to the phone lines here. There's a lot of phone calls. So please, fellas, when you call in, make sure you're not using a Bluetooth. Speak as loud as you can. No background noise. And try to make your point succinctly, please. We're not going to go back and forth because we do have a lot of phone calls, unfortunately. So we can't go back and forth. So make your points, and then we'll move on to the next call. Don't take it personally if I cut you off quickly, but it's just that we got a lot to get to. So let's do that without further ado. Hold on a second. 917, you're on the air. 917, what's on your mind? 917, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air, man. What's up?
Yeah, what's up? Yo, Triple G with the win. Congratulations. Guess 40 ain't look that old on him, huh?
Apparently not, man. What'd you think of the fight, man?
Listen. You got to understand, he fought a dude. He went to his hometown. Of course, he's not going to look his best. But if he does get that Canelo fight, come on. He's going to wake up for that. He's going to drink a little extra Russian juice, get up in the morning. Nah, all jokes aside, I think the guy needs that Canelo fight for a lot of reasons. Not just for legacy, but for money. Who doesn't want a nice $100 million retirement plan? You know what I'm saying? Mm. So the guy should definitely take the fight. And I think if he does take the fight, he'll wake up for it. And we'll see something we never thought we'd see. Will he knock him out? I don't know. But I think it's going to be competitive.
Well, yeah, I agree, man. I think it is going to be competitive. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
I just want the haters to shut the fuck up, because I'm looking through the comments right now, Instagram, all that. And it's all shit talking about Triple G, saying that he looks old.
No kidding. That's interesting, man. I'm going to get more people to let us know what they think about that. Because, I do want to hear more detractors. But 917, anything else, man?
That's it, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for calling, and call back next time. All right, that's 917 right there. He liked what he saw from Golovkin. Let's go to the wild card line here. 111, you're on the air. 111, what's on your mind?
Yo, GG had an early belated, he had a belated birthday gift. I heard he brung some of the ring girls back to his hotel room. I don't know how true that is. But anyway, let's go. War GGG. Now, to all of the Canelo Alvarez fanboys, sucking him off. Listen, stop sucking that ginger off. He's not Mexican. He doesn't look like you. Stop it. He's Irish. He's an Irish man, okay? Listen, GGG, his legs did look old. He did look slower. But, listen, Murata was just too, he had too much grit for his own good. He kept fighting back, but GG's power, he couldn't handle it, and I don't like that the corner threw in the towel. I wish it would have went on more. It was a great fight, but listen, I think Beefle is gonna get to the Canelo before GG, but I think GG is a good, is still good. He is a 40-year-old unified champion at 160. What other 160 champion is doing what GG is doing at his age? Charlo, what is he doing? He got stumbled and everything by Montiel, a drunk Mexican. You got Andre moving up, fighting some bum from the UK or whatever. Like, come on, bro. He's fighting a crackhead from the Ukraine.
Okay,
UK.
come on.
Like, let's keep it a buck. Who is doing what GG is doing right now? And I think GG would look better at a higher weight class, because if Canelo gets past the Russian Chad Beefle, it will be the fight with GG will be at 168. So I think GG might look better at that weight. But let me say this last thing, right? People have look different and feel different in their 40s. I'm sure, Jimmy, you probably were healthier than other people in their 40s. People have different, ways that their body adjusts to, becoming a little older, So, look at Bernard Hopkins, champion at 49 years old.
Yeah,
right?
everyone's different.
They are champions who are older, and so come on. A lot of people saying, "Oh, GG's 40, acting like he's 69 in a nursing home." Come on, it's just 40 years old. It's not that hard, But GG did look, like he was, picking up some chicks from the nursing home the day before the weigh-in. Did look a little old.
All right, man. All right. Hey, MMA champ, check the chat, man, because there's people out there going after you, man, in the chat room.
But like Chris K said, right? Ryan Garcia, the first twink champion.
All right. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. All right. Shout out to MMA champ for his call, and people are going after him in the chat room. And shout out to Rex, who just donated with a super chat. Shout out to Rex, and he says, "I want Canelo in Ireland, Triple G." Ireland. Wow. Okay, Ireland versus Triple G. Yeah. Well, that would be Canelo's hometown, right? In good old Ireland. Oh shit. All right. Let's go to. Thank you again for the calls. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 405. You're on the air. 405. What's on your mind?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed. 405. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight. I think Murata was there, though, to be hit. I actually see either Andrade, Charlo, or obviously Canelo beating Triple G. I think Charlo's 1-2 is strong enough to kind of keep Triple G resetting himself.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously not just stand there to be pummeled by Triple G. So it would be a good fight. It's not like a guarantee win for Charlo, but I do got Charlo beating him. I hate that the zone seems to be fixated with this fight. I personally don't want to see the third one. I don't really think we need it. But I think if Canelo says, "Oh, this is personal," and then there's the argument of, well, if it's personal, why did you wait so long, right? I think it's more like, what else is he supposed to say at this point? If he signed the contract, he's got to fight him. So he's got to build a narrative somehow, right?
That's true.
So the only thing left is, oh, it's personal. So that's how I see it. And then for that last caller, real quick, being Mexican is not what you look like or what color you are. It's a nationality, right? It's not a race. So Canelo was born in Mexico. He's with the Mexican culture. So that's why we support him. So in other words, no seas pendejo. But yeah,
no seas cabrón. Yeah, all right, man. I got you, man. Yeah, good points, man. And anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, that's a good show.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you. Call back next time. No te hagas el huevón, man. Yeah, that's what he's saying. All right.
No seas penitente.
Penitente. Well, I've never heard that one before. All right. Let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 301. You're on the air. 301. What's on your mind?
Hey. What's up, BDA?
What's up, man?
Yeah, so I obviously share many people's concerns for him fighting Canelo after that performance because he definitely looked even slower than in previous fights. But from a kind of optimistic point of view, what I noticed about G is that he is I don't know, very defensively aware. I guess I noticed that in the Derevchenko fight as well because prior to that fight, he was used to kind of, blocking punches with his face. I mean, not really. He would put his head down, but he would walk through punches as a way to intimidate the guy in front of him and to put pressure on him. But he definitely has, the tools to defend himself. And I am optimistic about his chances at 168 because I started watching Odo late at this fight, I think around third round. I noticed the uptick in pace and accuracy for him started around the fourth, fifth round. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah. We're hearing, we're listening to you.
Did you say something?
No.
Oh, sorry. I thought someone said something. I heard some scratching.
Might be the PDA host.
Anyway, he got.
That's your conscience talking to you.
What?
No, Gonzalo's making jokes. Go ahead, man. Yes, please, because we got so yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So anyway, he was getting more accurate as the fight went on, basically. So
That's true.
I do feel like a fight relatively sooner, at a higher weight, especially because of the amount of muscle he put on, would tend to favor him because his timing was definitely compromised, but he seemed like he was crucially aware of this fact. And like you saw that his punches were pretty tentative. Like he was pulling back a lot. He wasn't really committing to them. He was kind of leaving them out there. But when he started to see Murata wilt around the sixth round, he really started to put it on him. And he looked a lot more convincing and a lot faster with his offense. So I think there's definitely still room for him to be competitive. My only concern is like the footwork. That can fail him at times against a hard puncher like Canelo. But as a lot of you guys have pointed out, Canelo is also someone who has to manage pace because he's like, he only throws like one or two punches at a time and just kind of stalks guys. And he's also bulked up so much and gone up in weight, up and down that, I don't know if the fight is going to be a 168. I don't know what the details are. We'll see as they come through. But I think that, in terms of conditioning, I actually see Golovkin better down the stretch than Canelo. So
interesting, man.
The danger for him is definitely early.
Those are some excellent points, man. Stylistically, there's still a lot to work out there between those three. And that's why I think it's an exciting fight. And I think that's why the zone can make it work. So listen, 301, man. Excellent points, man. We got to move on to another call here. But thanks for your call and call back next time as always. All right, man?
All right.
Take it easy.
All right. Thanks.
Video real quick. This guy's got like a little angel and a little demon on each shoulder. Or little devil. Each time one guy talks, he's like, "What the fuck you say?" He's talking to the boxing gods. And,
it's because
and he's looking for an answer.
The quality of the line ain't the best, so sometimes people hear voices or they hear, and there's a delay on top of that. So yeah, just try to be patient here, fellas. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 951. You're on the air. 951. What's on your mind?
Yeah, got to get some LDBC perspectives in here.
Absolutely.
Boom Boom Guy, LDBC. I watched the fight. I had Triple G down the first 5 rounds. He was definitely losing the fight. He changed it when he knocked Murata's mouthpiece out in the 6th, and I noticed a big change because Triple G looked old. But yeah, once he knocked his mouthpiece out in the 6th round, he definitely stepped up. He got the best chin in the middleweight division. He just he finished it. I didn't think he was going to pull out of this one. I thought he might have was going to lose to decision. And I think his phone is going to be ringing off the hook because a lot of people saw that he is older now. He was the boogeyman he was the boogeyman for a long time. He was avoided. In 4 year, you can't fight Canelo. Don't fight Canelo. If you want a money fight, fight call out Andre Ward, and you'll get a good payday.
Well,
But,
Andrew Ward,
that's
you
it.
don't make
It
money
was,
with Andrew. You don't make money with Andrew Ward, especially now that he's been retired for 4 years.
The hype, the hype of Andre Ward coming back, I think will. I mean, of course, Canelo will be a good payday.
Hold on, let me finish.
You're not even close.
Well, listen, I think well, go ahead, Jimmy. And then, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, as far as Andre Ward comes, yes, that would be a crazy like their ages. In fact, I think isn't he still? G is still older than Andre, but the problem is, like Ward said, even at the time he retired, 175 was getting hard for him to make. So that fight would be at a minimum 175. So that would be G going up 2 weight divisions. So that fight would never happen. But I understand the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, what he's saying is Andrew Ward would actually be a little bit more competitive because they're about the same age, and Ward would be coming off a layoff. But financially, Ward doesn't really bring that much to the table. But Boom Boom, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I would just say Triple G needs to fight B-rated fighters. Any A-rated fighter, you're not going to win. Good show. I watched the fight. It was a good performance, but stick to the B-rated fighters, and LDBC out.
All right, take it easy, Boom. Thank you for calling in, man. All right, let's go to 347. You're on the air. 347. What's on your mind?
To that caller who called me pendejo, stop being a maricon, okay? Stop being a maricon. Maruejo, okay? But anyway, listen, Canelo might be Mexican, but he looks like unrivaled boxing talk. Come on.
All right, that's MMA Champ. Keep calling back, giving it to the chat room.
The BDA, if Murata's B, what the hell is Montiel?
Oh, Jimmy, you had to go there, huh? You had to go there.
Hey, I had to. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got you. All right, let's go to...
Fair statement.
Yeah, fair statement for sure, man. Perhaps a bad choice of word there with a fair word, fair. But anyway, let's go to... Ooh, I'm on fire and it's just Saturday. All right, let's go. 214, you're on the air. 214, what's on your mind?
I think Triple G did good, but I think, I think that first of all, I think Bill is going to beat Canelo, so I don't even think that fight's going to even happen. But if Canelo somehow does beat Bivol, I think the fight will be a little bit very competitive, in the beginning, because Canelo doesn't throw that many punches, and since he's went up to 168. Canelo has a tendency to load up on punches a lot. So I think that if Triple G just throw his punches, without trying to load up, he'll be able to keep it competitive. But I think down the stretch, Canelo's going to turn it up and maybe even stop him. Maybe I'm looking at 11th or 12th round stoppage.
Oh, whoa! That's a bold prediction right there, man.
Yeah,
bold
and prediction. I think Triple G. I think Charlo would beat Triple G now. Definitely, I think that Charlo. He got the age on his side. I don't think he would knock him out. I think he'll just go to decision, just like he didn't stop Sergey. Even though he had Sergey hurt multiple times, he didn't stop Sergey. I think he just have enough to just decision Triple G. His jab, his uppercut, his 1-2. Keep him at length.
Interesting, man. Interesting. Well, there you go. That's a bold prediction right there. Let's see if it happens. And Canelo, well, he said, you just said Canelo ain't making it past Bivol, right?
I don't think Canelo's going to beat Bivol. No.
Yeah.
So if he does, I think the Triple G fight will be mostly competitive.
Right, because I think somebody did confirm.
Can I ask the... Oh.
Somebody did confirm that if Canelo doesn't beat Bivol, then the Triple G rubber match doesn't happen. But go ahead, Jimmy. What are you going to say?
Well, I was going to ask the caller, what did he see in Charlo against Montiel that has him convinced he would beat Triple G? Meaning he did win, but not all rounds. And if Montiel is connecting you and bashing your face up like that, what do you think Triple G is going to do with those same shots?
Well, for one, I think he's going to show up to the fight against Triple G. This is going to be the biggest fight of his life, so I don't think he's going to take it for granted. And I think he's smarter than his brother Jamel, for one thing. He's way smarter than his brother Jamel. I think he's a better boxer than Jamel. I just think that he has all the tools, especially now. He's going to take it. I think he's going to really take it to him. I don't think Triple G, he need to warm up, get into it. I think Charlo's going to start off from the gate. Look, man, sometimes not every fight, you can't always judge a fighter by their last fight. You got to judge the fighter
I judge him by his whole resume. He's fought nothing but no-hopers.
All right. Listen, we don't have time to go back and forth here. Caller.
No, I know. I was just put it out there.
No, I know, but I'm just saying because I'm from a perspective, from a economical perspective here. I do want to try to get to other callers as well. So, caller, you can always, and this doesn't just go to this caller. Everybody else that's called in, if you have a different point of view, you agree, whatever you want to say. Open Lines Friday. I can't stress that enough. Open Lines Friday is your ultimate chance to step in here and tell the people what your thoughts are on anything boxing. So, 214. Anything else you want to say before we move on? I'll take that as a no.
No, not really. No, not really.
All right, man. 214. Good call, man. Good call. Call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy.
All right.
Yeah, good points. Listen, some people feel that Golovkin's going to get stopped, and I disagree, but you never know. He's going to be on the long side of 40 by the end of this year. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Hold on, Gazelle. Let me just get to, because we're get through the phone lines here. There's people waiting, 30 minutes here. Let's go to, hold on a second. 917, you're on the air. 917, what's on your mind?
On today's episode of The Zone Boxing, Triple G steps in the ring in his base form and challenges.
What the fuck? I could barely hear you, man, because there's a lot of background noise, but I heard something. I heard an announcer's voice there. It sounded like... Hey, caller, can you say if you want to win 2 tickets to Pearl? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Triple G goes to Planet Namek, Japan, and challenges Murata.
No, and
he turns on his base level power and fights the knife.
This fucking guy. It's too early in the morning for this type of shit. All right, 917, good call. Good call, take it easy. He was saying he's going to go to Planet Namek. What the fuck is he talking about? He's been watching too much Japanese anime, man. That's for sure. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. 484, you're on the air. 484, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air, man.
This is Olaf.
Olaf.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Triple G. I thought it was a great performance. Murata only won rounds 2 and 3, and then Triple G brutalized him after that. And I just called in to say that, I was looking around YouTube, and there's just a lot of black people on here who are really critical of Triple G for some reason. I mean, they refuse to give him any kind of respect at all. All they want to talk about is this fucking blue gum Sambo Charlo, who has never done.
Oh, okay, wait a minute, Okay, what the fuck? Olaf, man, come on, man. What's the matter with you, man?
No, it's just really disrespectful to Triple G, man. And all these people talk about fucking Charlo. Who gives a fuck about Charlo? He's fighting some fucking guy who's been beaten 3 times already. He just lost. He almost lost to a fucking welterweight a year ago. And what's his best win? Fucking a 42-year-old 5'6" fucking guy. And that's the only current or former world champion he's ever fought.
Well, listen, let me tell you this.
And these black guys on here, they say, well, he's got fast twitch muscles or some shit. It's fucking ridiculous. It's why don't they just give Triple G his fucking props? The guy is 40 years old. That was a really, besides the fact that he kind of looked slow, his legs didn't look great at first, and it was a vintage Triple G performance, and it's so disrespectful that what these people say about Triple G on here. It really is. It makes me so angry.
Listen,
but,
Olaf, I agree. Olaf, I agree that it's disrespectful, and some of these guys, they are black racists. They're never gonna give him credit, but that doesn't mean you have to go the opposite way. I've noticed your name, Olaf, by the way. It's an anagram of loaf, and I think you need to take a nice thick loaf of the Lord's bread and some of His blood. No, I'm serious. To sort of turn the other cheek every once in a while, not all the time, but every once in a while, and be compassionate towards these people because they are ignorant, and forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. That's my opinion, Olaf. Before we leave, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, that was it.
All right, Olaf bringing the
Take
heat,
care.
man. Thank you, man. All right, Olaf, I don't agree with his points of views, but, he's...
Olaf, his name's Olaf, so he's of Russian descent, most likely. So that's his people. You know what I mean? Gennady is one of his people. And again, we say it all the time. We'll state it again. Callers' opinions aren't, reflective of ours. But I can understand him being angry only because this has always been the way. It's one thing, we agree, you want to back your people, you want to be nationalistic, you want to, but you don't have to do it at the degradation of another person's abilities.
That's right.
That's all.
Because I agree with him about those people that they're not going to give. Some people are never going to give him credit based on race. But you don't gotta go the opposite as well. But listen, anyone that doesn't know who Olaf is, try to catch him on other shows, and you'll see why he's got a certain renown, or what's the word I'm looking for, reputation for some of the shit he says. But it's true. Look, listen, there's always going to be people that are never going to give Canelo credit. There's always going to be people that are never going to give Triple G credit. It's always going to be people that are never going to give even Charlo. Like, okay, yeah, he hasn't done all that much, but he's got some ability, and some people aren't going to give him that. So it's weird, man.
BDA, but it comes a point in time, and it's nothing has to do with nothing of this has to do about race, but pure boxing ability. While you're in your prime, if you didn't do what you needed to do in your prime, do you expect a guy like, for example, Charlo, to achieve this past his prime? When past his prime, he's not gonna be as good as he probably was during his prime, which is kind of like at the point where that's escaping him. So if a lot of people say, well, Charlo, he's that good. No, his prime is passing him. Will you realistically believe that past his prime, he's ever going to be as good as you thought that he could be if he never did it within the years that he should have? Right? At least GGG, Canelo, De La Hoya, Trinidad, back in the days, they were fighting the names that you wouldn't turn your head and look back at those guys and say, oh, no, you doubt their abilities. But this guy, you're having to constantly say, maybe I think he's that good. I think he will fulfill what he's supposed to do. But the time forgets nobody, man. Time is going. The clock is ticking. And then what are you going to say later, 2-3 years from now, when he didn't do anything? He was a potential that never fulfilled anything of what he was supposed to do because he was never that good.
Excellent point there, Gonzalo. Excellent point. You're keeping it real. And yeah, man, listen, people need to... It's boxing at the end of the day. We got more pressing issues out there. Save your emotion and your efforts for other stuff. Don't get all riled up over boxing. But hey, speaking of letting people speak their mind, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 914. You're on the air. 914. What's on your mind?
What's up, guys? It's Fernando from New York.
Oh, what's up, man?
Initially I had lately I started thinking about Golovkin's legacy, his resume, his career as a whole, and I think it was after the first Canelo. I don't know if it was after the first Canelo fight or the second Canelo fight, but his whole swagger changed up. He stopped doing English interviews.
Swagger.
He wasn't as approachable. Huh?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
And, I think his motto before was all the belts. I think he was one of the first guys that wanted to go undisputed in, like, the current era that we're in, if I'm not mistaken. And then I started hearing sparring stories that happened in Big Bear where, he was giving Kovalev so much problems in sparring that Kovalev left the camp and changed trainers to John David Jackson. So I started thinking, like, he should have went, since he's like a natural sized middleweight, maybe he should have went up to 168 for one fight and came back down. Or, if he was giving Kovalev problems, why didn't he take risks? But then, instead of thinking negatively like that, I'm like, look, the first fight, he looked at the decision that he got with Canelo. And the second fight, it just took it all out of him in terms of how much love he has left for the sport. That doesn't change his base ability. Like, he's still got power in his hands and things like that. But he's just, the way he carries himself and the way he looks at things is totally different after the two Canelo fights, and I don't blame the man. Initially, I started being critical and a skeptic, but when I thought about what he went through, even in the Olympics, I think something happened to him that was maybe kind of unfair. So when you look at the whole thing, it is what it is.
That's a good point, man. Yeah, and Steve Kim pretty much confirmed that a couple of episodes ago when he was on here, and he said that this guy, like, he's focused on the Canelo fight, and as fans of boxing, we don't like that, but Golovkin feels like he's paid his dues, and that if he wants one big fight and that's all he wants and cares about, then that's where he's at right now. Good call, Fernando. We got to move on to another phone call, but call back next time, and thanks again, man. All right, take it easy out there.
All right, guys, take care.
BDA.
All right.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt him.
Well,
it sounds very much like he's describing Marvin Hagler.
Yeah,
something
a lot
didn't
of
go right,
parallels.
didn't turn pro, didn't get the fights he wanted, was avoided for a long time. When he did get the big fight he really wanted, he got jogged, just like people thought Hagler got jogged against Leonard. Sounds very much like he's describing Hagler's career.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels there, man. Hey, let me just get to a super. Let me just get to a super chat here, and I gotta get to other phone calls. But shout out to Boxing Genie for his contribution with the super chat. He says Triple G could have unified with any 160-pound champion the last 2-3 years. Murata has no head movement. Andrade style would give him hell. Rank Murata /Charlo /Andrade. Yeah, that's a good point. That goes to our point. He could have followed those guys too, but he's obsessed with Canelo now, and I understand. I'm not justifying his actions like the call, like Fernando said, but he's just explaining why he feels the way he feels. Gonzalo, go ahead, and then I gotta get to a phone call here. Continue.
Yeah, and BDA, I mentioned this the other day. In revenge is a great motivator. It's I'm not gonna say great, but it's the only motivator you need sometimes to do something. Some people wait their whole lives just to get there, like the Count of Monte Cristo. Remember that movie, BDA? You don't need a slew of things, like many boxing styles to do something. No, it's only one approach, one strategy, and one motivator. And revenge is the one that might pay off.
Yeah, don't take away my revenge. That's what he said in the movie. Let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget. Yeah, it was also. Oh, look at Chief trying to upend us. Like, it was also a book, guys. Do you read? All right. Shout out to 678. You're on the air. 678. What's on your mind? It's a lot of background noise, bro.
Hey, so was Murata not out for about 2 years? Wasn't he out longer than Triple G?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Soothsayer, you still there? I said, yeah. I think he was out for a year and a half or even 2 years.
Yeah. So to the panel and to you, how impressive, you might have talked about it, how impressive was the win over him for a 40-year-old Triple G?
I mean, it evens out, in my opinion, because he's 40 years old and he hadn't fought in a year. So compound that old age with the inactivity, he's probably like, what, 3 years layoff? That comes about to a 3-year layoff. What do the rest of you guys think? Jimmy, Gonzalo, do you think that 2-year layoff from Murata actually evens out with Golovkin and the age and his own year layoff?
Wait a minute. Golovkin's last fight was in 2020, if I'm reading this right. So that's 2 years for him also.
Well,
yeah, he's been out for a while.
Yeah, a little bit more than a year. That's true.
Yeah, but no, Gonzalo.
No, he had that look like he wanted to take Golovkin out. Like I'm gonna, if I can deal with your punching power, I'm gonna knock you out. But we saw how that paid off. Did it? It didn't. Golovkin hit him with something that made him freeze. And after that, it was a rapper dapper. That's all she wrote. Murata couldn't get his legs under him. He couldn't get his legs under him. He was hurt. Murata got hurt. Dude, Japanese dudes are tough. But this was like the Last Samurai movie where he brought swords to the fucking battle. And the other guys, they brought the big guns. They brought the big guns. And then the fucking emperor had to say, man, well, this is it, man. This is a new era.
Guns blazing, man. Soothsayer, yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, one last thing. Okay, so this isn't really setting up a nightmare scenario, right? I shouldn't be convinced that these are now the conditions for 2 losses to the Canelo. Bivol and then Triple G, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Canelo needs to beat Bivol, and that's not a given. So we might not see the fucking rubber match, right?
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, that was all I got to say. Hey, thank you for having the morning show. That's awesome, man. I'm going to work. Y'all are fucking killing it.
All right. Thank you, Soothsayer. Thank you for your call, man. Call back next time. Take it easy, man. All right, that was Soothsayer. All right, listen, fellas, don't forget to hit the like. Really appreciate it if you subscribe as well. Again, shout out to Boxing Genie for his contribution. And I just looked at the poll here again, and what we've got now we are asking people who wins the Canelo Golovkin rubber match. Now it's up to what I expected. 61% of people are picking Canelo to win the rubber match, 39% Golovkin. So that's almost 60-40 right there. And it's about what I expected. I don't know if I know my shit, I know what boxing fans think, or maybe you guys are doing that on purpose to placate me, in which case, big no-no. All right? I want honest opinions. Of course, I'm not crazy enough to think that you guys are just placating me. I know people. This is what people really feel. All right, fellas, you take over. Pete, if you want to go ahead, man, thank you for being on. And I'll be right back, right, fellas? You take over.
All right, Pete, welcome.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. I was waiting for Pete to talk. You there, Pete?
Yeah, I'm very. Good morning, fellas.
Yeah, good morning, brother. Why don't you give us your breakdown of what you saw, what you feel?
Interesting fight, about what I expected in terms of Murata going to the body early. Unfortunately, you leave yourself exposed upstairs, and I think just that power, GGG's power, definitely lost a step, definitely aged in terms of his reaction, but the power's still there. And I suspect he broke his orbital bone at some point, or his jaw, in that 8th or 9th round. Because he hit him in the beginning of that 9th round. He hit him with a right hand that just fucking rocked him. And that hook looping behind the guard I think just broke Murata down. I think he broke his orbital.
Can I ask you a question, Pete? Do you feel that Triple G's, there was some dulling in certain areas. Do you feel that could be attributed as much to ring rust as age?
I don't think with Triple G, with that amateur pedigree and his professional record, I don't think you're dealing with too much ring rust in terms of letting skill, letting not be able to jump back in the saddle. I think he's a professional. But I think it's more the age, just losing a step.
Yeah. So you think the age, but exactly, I should have phrased that a little better. The timing, do you think, his timing seemed to be a little off? It took him a little longer to get that. His jab was, right on point, right off the rip. But it's a question because I'm kind of torn right now. Again, I've already made my intentions. I wouldn't like to see a third fight. I think they waited too long. But I agree that there was some dulling. But was it ring rust or was it body?
I'm solidly in your camp. I think it's the former. I think exactly what you said. You and I have been saying for a long time. I think you're exactly. I agree with you completely. I just think that if it looks like ring rust, I think if anything, it's his boxing mind being there. It's always done. He's always done his whole life, but his body's not pulling the trigger commensurate with what he knows he should be doing.
Exactly.
You know what? I just, when you guys were talking, I came to understand something, and this is why Triple G punches so hard that when he hits you with something, fighters had never felt that before, because how he punches. Chris Algieri mentioned this. He has strong wrists and heavy hands. That his hands are strong enough that when he throws those, when you said, Pete, the looping shots, when he throws those looping shots to the cranium and he lands solid against solid, meaning the fist to the solid cranium. Man, a lot of fighters avoid that because many times you're going to hurt your hands, right? But Gigi's hands are so strong that when you land hard against hard, you get confirmation that you're landing against something hard as an opponent's cranium, that you're going to hurt the guy. And when the knuckles meet the bones and your punches connecting and GGG realizes this, I can break my opponent down. That's something the fighters have never felt before, because a lot of times, you're going to shoot for the chin, but the chin, you can roll the neck, you can hide your chin, you can make it disappear, you can your flesh, you can hide it in a certain way where sometimes you're not meeting hard against hard, which I mean is hand against cranium. GGG, when he punches through, he aims for something that's not going to disappear means the impact is going to be full-fledged punch. And that's why he's punching the target and he's hurting these guys, because he understands his punching power, where he aims his power, that his hands can deal with it, and that's something to behold, man. That's the reason.
Gonzalo, let me ask you in the panel, let you guys all, did you feel I thought I saw him be more, he was stalking him more. Like before, he would throw his combination, he would throw his punches that were available. He seemed to be almost looking for them more. Like remember when he had the kid against the ropes, he was more. I'm not using the correct word, but he would lean in and he would spot his punch more instead of just throwing it because that's what he would normally do. The left jab and he'd follow up with the right. It was more he'd come into the zone area, into the corner, into the pocket to fight, and he would pick his punches. I seen him picking punches more than I think I've ever seen. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, and it's not like the punch where the mouthpiece flew out. It's not like he just caught him at the tip of the chin, like let's say for example, when the police cars chase a car down and they want to sideswipe him to knock the fucking car off his axis and make him rotate out of position. No, he caught him like in the back of the neck, where he caught him solid, and he still made his mouthpiece fly out. Why? Because he was looking for the distance, and he punched where he just didn't catch him at the tip of the chin, where he made the next spin. No, he made the next spin, and he made the face turn, but he punched him in the back of the chin, where the neck meets the neck. And dude, he was trying to punch through the target. He wasn't just trying to clip the guy. He was punching through the target.
It's interesting. There's a lot of people in the chat saying now they're coming across here and saying that they believe Ted Onset brought up a good point. He goes, Canelo hasn't fought a big puncher in a while. Moving up and down in weight takes its toll. Triple G figured out Canelo later in the second fight. Nobody talks about the rally Triple G made, very high IQ. And he brings up the good point there about how after the Derevchenko fight, a lot of people said, oh, there you go, Canelo beats the shit out of Triple G. What's his name? Derevchenko throws a lot of punches in bunches. Canelo doesn't throw combos anymore. He used to throw flashy combos at 154, even at 160. Now, one punch at a time. He's a sledgehammer type of guy. Do you guys think that's enough to wear Golovkin down, or how would you see that approach working? I
think Canelo would fight him completely different than, say, like he's fought guys recently, meaning he'd be smart. He would just engage without engaging. He would just try to take Triple G after the fourth and fifth round. The thing is with Triple G, because his power is so real and he puts so much weight over that front foot and turns his wrist over, to Gonzalo's point, to such a degree that he's got so much on his shots when they land, and he punches through his target, that I don't think that's going to change. But I think it still takes a little off the older you get. So again, I think Canelo would kind of take him into deeper rounds and then turn it on and try to not let him breathe and really start throwing more like he used to.
Yeah, because
that would be the smartest game plan.
Because Canelo would have to worry about Golovkin's punching power as well. I mean, look, Murata is not as skilled in the defense department as Canelo, but that also gave us a different view of a guy with power who went after Golovkin early, and he ended up getting munched down and taken apart. So Canelo's not going to do that. Even though he's got better defense, he could still run into something. So his approach is going to be more methodical, and therefore, if he does beat Triple G, I don't suspect it to be early on. With a Deontay Wilder type knockout. He would have to wear Triple G down. And Triple G at this point, he still looks well-conditioned for a guy his age, strong as heck, still has that ramrod jab, and he can still punch as well, like a mule. So, man, it's an interesting fight if it happens. But then again, I'm telling you guys, I don't think Canelo makes it past Bivol. And that's not because I think Canelo sucks. I think it's because it's too much for him at this point. 175 pounds, a taller guy, faster. And I just think the wrong style for him. I think Canelo would be better off staying at 168 and taking on Triple G right away. Or maybe,
I think he should stay there too. Because but if he does do it, that'd be one hell of a feat. But then he would also, the good part about that is if you were him, would you say, do I want Triple G or Beterbiev? Because if he beats then, he could try to unify the second division. It would almost be like, what do I do? Do I go for the money for Triple G, or the legacy thing is to go after Beterbiev for the 175 belt?
And that's the matchup that benefits Canelo at that weight. Not saying that he'd definitely win, but he has a better odds of beating Beterbiev than he does Bivol based off of what we see on paper and the style matchup. He's not going to have to find Beterbiev. He's going to be there because Beterbiev is going to, and Canelo can actually do whatever he wants to do. He can move around the ring, or he can stand and trade with him because Beterbiev is going to be there. If it's Bivol, he's got to find him. And let's face it, there are people that think that what was that last guy's name he fought? I can't remember. My mind just went blank. Anyway, tall, lanky guy that Canelo just beat. Oh, he threw that fight because that guy was outboxing him. If any of that is true, and I'm not entertaining that, but based off the height, the length, people are thinking that Canelo is going to win this fight based off of that fight that just happened. But that's not Bivol. That's not Bivol at all.
Yeah, Bivol doesn't.
This guy's taller, heavier. Appears in his earlier career to have heavier hands. I haven't been impressed with his power since he's won a world title, but at the same time, that doesn't mean he doesn't have enough to keep you honest.
Yeah, Bivol doesn't do that flashy. He's not that type of guy that's trying to copy Mayweather, like Caleb Plant.
Yeah, Plant was a poor white man as Mayweather. That's
okay, why you gotta throw white in? Why you gotta
Mayweather?
You gotta throw
Jimmy,
white in there.
thanks for saying his name, but see me in the chat put his name out there, also trying to help me out. I want to give a shout out to him because I couldn't remember Plant's name. Jimmy, you called it also, but just want to give the kid a shout out.
Jimmy with that white guilt, having to throw the white version of Mayweather. Come on, man. Just say he was a poor man's version of Mayweather. All right, let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 806. 806, you're on the air. 806, what's on your mind? 806, you're on the air, man.
What's going on, guys? Y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. What's on your mind?
All right, man. Good fight. Good fight overall. I thought Triple G started a little slow, but I want to say that was more not to the age, but the fact that he showed up maybe like 45 to an hour before his fight was even about to walk. He showed up like the middle of the co-main, right? And then shortly later, he was out there. Didn't even really have a sweat on him. But once he got going and looked like Triple G a little bit. However, at 40 years of age, I don't like that Gennady still sacrifices his face to protect his body. Whereas if he's lunging in, elbows in, my face is forward, just come hit me. Because you can take a better shot to the chin, but if somebody with the precision and power of Canelo Alvarez lands to the body, it might be game over for Gennady. However, in the third fight, I do not see a stoppage coming. Just simply off the animosity between the two fighters, I see it happening. Possibly like Wilder and Fury minus the knockout. It's just an epic battle between two people that generally do not like each other, generally made for each other. And I feel like Canelo Alvarez will go in a tad too aggressive in the third fight towards Gennady Golovkin. It's just the anger and just the ways he feels.
Interesting.
Other than that, I do not see Dmitry Bivol beating Canelo Alvarez either. He sure does possess the skill to possibly give Canelo some problems, but he does not have the experience to give Canelo problems. You can be a great boxer, a taller fighter, a bigger dude, but if you've never been in there with a caliber fighter of a Canelo Alvarez, who's Dmitry Bivol's best opponent, an old Pascal? Come on, guys. Let's really see who we're talking about. The true danger at 175 pounds for Canelo Alvarez is probably Joe Smith or Better BF. The winner of those two will give Canelo Alvarez true problems, but I see Canelo Alvarez winning.
Paula, did you see what Bivol did to Joe Smith? Did you not see what Bivol did to Joe Smith?
I see Bivol not handling the true power and accuracy of a Canelo Alvarez. Taller, longer.
No, I know. Well, I'm just saying, didn't you just say that, Joe Smith would be a tougher person for Canelo at 175? I thought that's what you said, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Bivol give Joe Smith a boxing lesson?
No. Show me who's showed Joe Smith a boxing lesson.
Bivol did.
Joe Smith has been doubted at every turn and has come back and proven everybody wrong at every turn. I do not
Except
see
for
him
when
a
he
major
fought Bivol
underdog against Arthur Beterbiev.
Except when he fought Bivol and lost one-sidedly.
But I didn't quite hear that. Go ahead one more time.
He said, because Jimmy's making the point that Bivol did beat Joe Smith.
One-sidedly.
One-sided. Okay, sure. I didn't catch that fight then. But I don't get...
Well, listen, I mean, it's not just about... oh, shit, can you guys hear me?
8 pounds out of his own words to fight Canelo Alvarez. But I don't see it. And then with the Canelo doesn't throw any punches, it's because he's precisely throwing his punches. He's choosing his punches, wisely punching, like a smart fighter would. And the fact that somebody said, why wait 4 years to rematch Golovkin? like he was just sitting on his hands, not fighting great fighters in the time between. Golovkin was fighting Steve Rolls and Derevchenko. But I'm not trying to bash. Good for him, but I do believe that Joe Smith Jr., which probably has now shown improvement since the Bivol fight. Then I don't doubt that Joe Smith Jr. or Art Beterbiev would be more problems for Canelo Alvarez.
Well, listen, we're going to be talking about we're going to be covering the Canelo Bivol fight more as we approach that fight. Because when is that fight, by the way?
That's Canelo Bivol. That's on May 7th, BDA.
Oh, okay, no, so we should start. Okay,
May
so we
7th, first weekend, Cinco de Mayo weekend, first weekend that comes.
Cinco de Mayo. Okay, so we should start covering it pretty soon then. And I want to talk more about that one as well, because it is an interesting fight. Like, I'm interested in hearing that from people that are saying Bivol's going to win, and then there's other people that are saying, nope, Canelo's he's going to prove that he is the pound-for-pound best. So I'm very interested in that discussion. 806, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Shout out to the big fish, Earl Spence. I'll see everybody in Dallas.
Oh, whoa, he's going to dance. All right, take it easy, 806. Thanks for calling in, man. All right, shout out to him. Yeah, Jimmy, that's going to be interesting, man, once we get to that discussion of Bivol Canelo, because that's the main argument people are saying was who has Bivol beaten? My argument would be, sure, he hasn't beaten any A-list names, but the B-level guys he's fought, he's barely lost any rounds to them. So there's something to be said for that, too.
No, I know. I mean, to be honest, I don't think the call, if I'm mistaken, didn't he say he didn't even know they fought? Bivol and Joe Smith fought?
No. I think he said that it wasn't as
once. Words, but he definitely seemed confused when you said that.
Well, he later on he said that he knows Bivol beat Joe Smith, but that it wasn't the same Joe Smith now. In other words, Joe Smith has made improvements, he said. So
not really. I haven't seen it. No.
Well, that's his point of view. I'm just telling you. What
Bivol beat him one side. No, I know what you're talking. I know you. I'm not shooting a messenger. But yeah, no, I just, again, he yelled out Spence the end, and so whatever. There's a certain demographic who just will never give Triple G the credit he deserves.
Yeah, he's pretty much saying that Triple G is when he faces guys like Canelo, that shows how Triple G how good he really is, meaning that he's not really that good. But the thing with Triple G is, Canelo has a lot of wrinkles when he faces other fighters. But when you fight a fighter like Triple G, when you have Canelo Triple G, Canelo can't comport himself against Triple G like he does against other fighters, because you got to watch out for Triple G's right hand. So that means he's got to stay away from their right hand, so he becomes more limited where he shows more wrinkles against other guys. Because you can't just turn to Triple G's right hand, because he's going to time with those looping rights or the straight thudding rights. You got to circle away from that, so he pretty much reduces you to fighting in a different way, because the punching power is there from Triple G. That you got to reinvent yourself, right?
And didn't our other call? Well, yeah, exactly. Didn't the other caller, our LDBC friend, say that he had Murata winning all first 5 rounds?
Yeah, that's
it's always, you know what I mean? I was like, what the hell was that? That's not the fight I saw, but
it's like when amateurs, people that get on the back foot. Sometimes they can beat guys that turn professionals, and like Triple G, he won a silver medal, and other guys that later on, when the guy like GG turns professional, they're way better because they can go 12 rounds. When you got a back foot fighter or a guy like Murata that comes to pressure you for 4 rounds and give you the best that he can, expecting you because you're old to break down and go away, but you don't, and you're there for the long run. Hey, guess what? It's not turning out the way you thought, right? This is not a 4-round fucking fight. This is
it's not. It's the Marvin Hagler effect, brother. Marvin Hagler did well in the images, went up through the, won the nationals and whatnot, but he wasn't an amateur fighter. He shined when he turned to the pros, like you said, smaller gloves, longer rounds, conditioning.
But in addition to the longer rounds, there was the picking off shots and the constant coming forward. As aggressive as he was, people thought he took a lot of punishment over the years because of the Hearns fight and the Mugabe fight. He didn't take a lot of punishment because that head of his, he'd keep it tucked so they'd slip off the top. Some of the punches.
Just like G. Yep.
And then he'd pick off a lot of those shots with his gloves because he always kept them by his chin. And that's something that fighters did irregular back then. Nowadays, everybody wants to do the hands down, move the chin, and move the head. And that's all well and good if you can perform it, but not everybody can perfect it the way Mayweather and James Toney and Pernell Whitaker.
And Hagler was famous for breaking hands. famous for it. He was great at that. Like he does the same thing. He would keep his head slightly tucked down. He would do that herky jerky thing with his shoulder, and then when you throw a jab, he'd just slightly drop his head down. He would jack dude's hands up instead of trying to, like you said, bop his head out of the way. You know what I mean? He was very good. Or he'd catch punches off his gloves. He was great at that. Great at that.
He was, and Triple G's good at it too. There's some facets of Triple G's game that does remind me a little bit of Hagler. He likes to walk you down.
Exactly.
He doesn't totally get hit clean. It looks like he gets hit worse than he does because unlike Hagler, he has hair. So when you hit him, you see sweat fly. But it doesn't always mean that it connected with full force. It doesn't always mean that it hurt him. It doesn't always, but it, like with Hagler and everybody else, it does add up over the years. If the punch that doesn't hurt you is the one that never lands. But some people can't do that style, so they make up for it in other ways. The top of the head, picking off shots with a glove, stuff like that. Both Hagler and Triple G were very good at it. And
Prime Triple G Hagler would have been, imagine that, like just a mythical matchup. That would be a war for them in their prime.
And I think Triple G is a naturally bigger man than Hagler because he trains down to the weight, and I don't think Hagler did because remember same day weigh-ins. So.
He was. He is not. He is a little bigger. Yes, you're right. 100%. He is a little bigger, taller.
So to that mythical fight, amazing thing that I would love to try and sit down and talk with you offline about one day, and maybe we can collaborate on some stuff. But anyway, back to the show. A lot of guys are going with Charlo, possibly thinking they can beat Triple G at this point, and I'm not going to argue with them on their opinion. But something they're overlooking is, and you brought it up, Jimmy. Between Montiel and then we'll go another step. Not Kavaluskas. I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Anyway, Devinchenko, that's his name. Devinchenko. They were putting it on him late. So let's say I believe everybody that thinks that Charlo can win this fight. The reason why I'm not arguing with him is because in the early rounds he will be winning this fight, especially if he shows up really too hungry and not calculated. He'll show up. He'll come out. He'll start fast. He'll build a lead. He'll try and swell Triple G's eyes. He'll try and draw some blood, bruise him up, and then he's going to fade like he has in his last several fights at middleweight. And these guys that have been coming on at him are either second-class fighters like Montiel, with all due respect to him, 22 knockouts out of 22 wins against second-rate opposition.
Oh yeah,
so he can still punch, but he does. I'm almost done. And he can still punch, but he doesn't have like the world class knockout punch. And then Devinchenko is not. He's a pressure fighter, and he's a wear you down fighter. He didn't have the power to follow up and finish off Charlo when Charlo got tired, and Charlo was able to fight back to his credit as champion. But Triple G hits harder than them, and if he gets to come on after you're done, you could be in trouble. Gonzalo, please go ahead.
Yeah, and Chief, it's not like GGG is just getting tired and he's just he's got enough conditioning where he eventually just on his strength alone he just knocks you out. No, he's also downloading information where he closes your avenues of escape with punches. That means if GGG is surging as the fight goes on and he finds success with the punch, like he was against Murata, he keeps landing that punch, then you're in trouble. But not only that, he's landing that punch to where if you think you're reverting to escaping in a different direction, he downloaded enough information to where he's closing that avenue of approach as well. So it's only if I'm landing this one and you try to escape to your left, I know how to block off this avenue of escape. Not with movement, with the punch that's pretty much trapping you, and he's tightening down the screw to where you get pressured into succumbing to the punching power and the pressure because of the intelligent fighting. He put you where he wanted to. Ultimately, he beat you down because it wasn't just like stamina alone. No, it was boxing ability, and punching power.
Well, listen, at the end of the day...
he sets traps, too. He's excellent at setting traps.
At the end of the day...
lock you in, escape.
And Jimmy, the whole what I'm saying is the shifting. The shifting, you fucking try to escape to your right, but I'm going to put you over here, but then when I put you over here, I'm already cranked up to land a heavy shot on that side.
Yeah, we gotta do a film study on this if the fight happens. It's gonna be interesting to do the film study for Bivol Canelo. Because, like I said, there's a lot of... I'm telling you, I don't see Canelo beating Bivol, man. I don't know why, but that's my first-hand opinion. Now, as in regards to somebody said that Teddy Atlas is one of those guys that's being overly critical of Triple G. Not for the fight we just saw, but for, other things beforehand. And I remember Teddy Atlas is the guy that I was rereading my issue Ring Magazine here after the Sahir Rahim Rocky Juarez fight. For most people that don't know, both guys were undefeated, and Juarez did a lot of clinching, a lot of holding of the head, and he ended up losing a close decision. And a lot of people, I still remember in the internet, and writers were complaining about the referee that took points away from Rahim for doing that. And I'm thinking, Teddy Atlas is one of those guys that said, oh, the referee was too involved. Good. If a guy's clinching too much and holding behind the head, I want the referee to take points away. And by the way, Rahim is lucky that the referee didn't disqualify him because he did take 3 points away. Usually some guys take 2 points and then boom, disqualification. May I also say, in regards to the clinching though, Golovkin was clinching in this fight. He wasn't doing it excessively, but he was doing it more than I've ever seen before. And he would do the smart thing. He would clinch for half a second and then pretend that he wasn't the one clinching. Like he would try to push the guy away. So it's almost like he was just trying to gain himself a second or two of rest. But it was still perturbing to see a guy that's usually, he's used to calling the pace and controlling the action, resorting to having to clinch. So yes, indeed, the age is showing. But will that be
enough? He was also complaining a little bit like Julio Cesar Chavez when he was getting hit to the body, like, come on, referee, he's hitting me low.
Yeah. But he was getting hit low. Murata was hitting him low.
He was, but you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Chavez did that a little bit, and Mayweather did it a lot in the Maidana fight.
Yeah, man. So, hey, listen, hey. By the way, DJ Mixtape says, who was the ref in that fight, BDA? It was a Texas ref, and I never saw him again, ever. It seems like maybe they caved under the pressure. The commissioners caved under the pressure from the media, which is strange because usually when the media complains about something, the commissioners go, what are you going to do about it? Bad decisions, bad refereeing, it is what it is. But this time they, yeah.
And smart fighters always complain about body shots because what you do is if you complain about them enough, because refs are human, and you complain about it, they'll start looking for it, and they'll start calling everything close. Like, bring your punches up. And if you just hear that as a fighter, it might make you not go to the body as often because you're afraid of losing points. So that's a tactic that good fighters will always use. But some guys try to go too much, especially if they have the fucking ref in their pocket.
But I do remember that fight, and I do remember what BDA is talking about explicitly. And a lot of people on the internet, like you said, were just totally bashing the entire process on how it was a hometown decision for Juarez because he was an Olympian and they wanted him, and Rahim's getting jugged and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, Rahim's also part of that 96 team that I knew really well, and I definitely was one of the guys on the team I didn't care too much for.
Oh.
So I wasn't too... Yeah, that's the story offline for you guys. I'll tell you later. It's a sparring story. But anyway, not with me. Not with me.
Yeah, nobody messes with the chief, yeah.
I was a coach by that time. I wasn't fighting anymore. Anyway, but there's a lot of people that were complaining about that, said that clinching is just part of the game and blah, 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 blah. And Teddy Atlas did do that. And I'm going to say this with all due respect to Teddy Atlas because I met him when I was in Florida, and I enjoyed him. I think he's a stand-up guy, but he's like BDA said, we're all human, and he tends to go towards whatever he favors. And he's very passionate about what he favors. And he always favors an American fighter.
Oh.
He just does. Well, I'm saying that out of his pride for the country. He goes up to talk to the Jets and the college teams up in New York before they every football season because he loves New York, he loves America, and it's like we've said on this show. There's something that unites people around the same thing when it comes to boxing, and he likes the American fighter.
And to be honest too, but when it comes to him, Teddy Atlas, in the late '80s, after he left, Mike, him and Kevin Rooney, like his reputation wasn't that good. He said a lot of knucklehead things back in the day. It was to the point when I stepped away from the game for like 5 years, I wasn't really well in Boston. And when I came back to it, I couldn't believe how his name suddenly started getting respected, and he was being on ESPN and stuff. I'm like, wow. Because, people just kind of consider him a knucklehead, right? You know what I mean? But as he got older, he got more...
He wasn't a good trainer. He wasn't a good trainer, and I mean, because he was a good strategist. But like me, because I do know how to teach boxing also, I talk a lot. So does he. And you're losing the message sometimes when you're trying to be like in the gym trying to do stuff. And that was one of my flaws of why I didn't become a good trainer. I like to talk too much. I love to talk about boxing, and I go down these rabbit holes, and I lose focus. And I'm not saying he did the same thing, but people alluded to that because Shannon Briggs, when he was in Florida back when I was working at the PAL gym, came to visit us, and we talked, and I talked offline to him a little bit, and he said, yeah, Teddy talked too much.
And he always took over the room. He was that type of dude too. You know what I mean? Never wrong, very aggressive in his opinion.
Oh, Quag says he wants to hear the sparring, so I'll do it on another show. But anyway, yeah. So the thing about Teddy is that people started saying that he wasn't a good trainer, and maybe he wasn't. I'm not going to comment on that as his ability to teach. But when you saw him on ESPN and he was doing the breakdown in between what each person had to do, he's a great strategist. He's an excellent strategist. Some people can connect with a fighter and bring the best out of him, and some can't. And that's what a trainer really can do. He had a problem working with some guys because, like you said, he took over the room and he talked too much. I do the same thing. And some people didn't like working with me. Some people loved working with me.
Wait a minute. Who wouldn't want to work with you, man? What the fuck?
Well, you invited me to the show, so apparently you...
No, I said who wouldn't want to work with you?
Oh, I thought you said who would want to work with me. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. First of all, I was only joking in my response to what I thought you said, and I didn't hear you correctly, so I apologize.
You sound like you got a little Teddy Atlas going into you right now, man. I gotta tell you, I don't like it. You're being no, but you know what? But can I say something? Can I say something about to Chief's point about Teddy Atlas? Yeah, it sounds like, I don't know, Chief. I don't know if you would agree with this, but it seems like Teddy Atlas has that thing where he's never wrong, and if you want to be a good trainer, you have to know when you're wrong, because you got to make adjustments. If you think you're always right, then you're not gonna. I mean, remember the whole Michael Moore thing? Do it for your family, and then he comes back to the corner, and Teddy Atlas is already sitting down on the stool. You want me to fight for you? You want me to fight for you, man? Give it a break, man. This guy's a little bit too rambunctious. That's my opinion on him. And listen, I'm gonna be a little facetious here, but I hate his fucking parables and allegory that he comes out with. Like, it's like when he breaks down the fight, he goes, let's say you're a Chevy and you're driving down the interstate and the red light comes red, but you want to make it through the red lights. Like, what the fuck, man? And he starts screaming out of nowhere. He'll start out calmly, like I just did. You know, you got the Chevy and then you got the red light. It's like, fuck, man. It's like, I don't know. He's trying to be Costamado hypnotizing people.
He thinks he's Al Pacino. Gonna finish every sentence yelling.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, but he got some of these parable ideas. He was under Costamado, and Costamado was famous for talking like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's trying to be Costamado, and it's not working. It's like Max Kellerman trying to be a Larry Merchant. It just doesn't work out. And by the way, before we continue, real quick, shout out to John Gonzalez for a big time contribution to the via the super chat. Shout out to Johnny Boy. He says to BDA.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks, John. John Boy, I really appreciate that, man. He says
Johnny Boy. Is that Johnny Boy or Juani Boy?
No, Juani Boy. Yeah, because people are going to confuse him with that other crapper. But yeah, BDA, the show, and the panel. Shout out to John Gonzalez. And shout out to... Hold on a second. The Quack saying, do you believe in magic? Shout out Dennis Flaherty. Shout out to Dennis Flaherty for his contribution as well with the super chat. He says, good memory, Jimmy. Teddy was ostracized for saying some crazy shit. Yeah, man, he would come out with some real whack job theories. And by the way, somebody wanted to know the name of the referee from the Juarez Rahim fight. I've got the tape where they actually say his name. In this YouTube video, they don't say it, but that's the guy there, that dude that looks like Hyman Roth. So just check him out on YouTube, see if you can find the name, or on Google. But that's him. It was only business. That's my Hyman Roth quote.
I'll tell you the name in a minute.
Yep. Well, that was an excellent analogy. Hyman Roth.
He does kind of look like Hyman Roth. Anyway, go ahead, Chief. Yes, what were you saying about the...
Referee was Robert Gonzalez.
How the fuck do you remember the name?
I just looked it up on BoxRec. I'm not that good.
Okay. All right.
He looks like the bartender from the movie The Shining.
Nah, he doesn't look like...
He looks like a heavier version, but yeah, the hairstyle is the same with the bald on top and hair around the side.
How's my credit? Your credit's fine, sir. All right. All right. What are we doing here? But Teddy Atlas. Look, listen, I'm all for going after Teddy Atlas. He's an entertaining guy, but I remember also when Hopkins beat Pascal in the rematch, and instead of giving props to Hopkins, he was criticizing Pascal for what he didn't do. And I'm thinking, come on, man, you're not going to give this old fella, 45-year-old guy beating a much younger man any credit. I just thought that was That was the state. He just didn't want to admit that he was wrong because he'd picked Pascal to knock out Hopkins. So
exactly, it's a part of he can never be wrong situation, and he's not going to give him. And if it's personal, he doesn't. The same thing with Ward lately, making some of the stupid shit he's been saying about Canelo. That's personal. He has a personal thing against him for doing things that he never did. So he's attacking him for it, which just undermines his credibility to the 10th degree, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's you gotta be humble and know when you're wrong. It's fuck. You gotta. These people that, no, I'm never wrong. And then now you got to come up with something else afterwards to prove that you were wrong. Come on, there's nothing wrong with being, it's natural to be wrong. We're not perfect. Perfection's for losers, by the way. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Perfection is for losers.
Well, Ward said that Canelo would never fight Bivol, never fight Better Biev. He said a couple of years ago. Then all of a sudden it was, they're seeing, and it was only because he's seeing that Better Biev lost a step.
You know what he's doing, Jimmy?
He's trying to cover for it.
Ward is projecting. That's what he would do. Somebody was telling me that. I was reading on a forum that he once mentioned before he fought Edwin. What was the guy's name? Dominican dude.
Rosario from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Rosario. Not Rosario, Jimmy. But I think you know what.
Oh, Edwin. Yes. Oh my God, the kid from Worcester. I'll get his name.
Yeah. Him. Yeah. He was saying in interviews, he's not making weight, blah blah blah. And I said, whoa, how did he know that? And somebody in the forum said, well, that's because he's got spies. He's got spies in every gym. And there was that story that happened with Victor Conti. I'm gonna butcher it, but Conti was in his private gym, and it is a private gym, so he can kick out whomever he wants. And what's his name? Andrew Ward came in there with some people. But long story short, somebody from Conti's camp was sparring, and it was a guy that Andrew Ward's friend was going to fight, something like that. And out of nowhere, one of Andrew Ward's friends just pulls out a camera and starts filming. And Conti told him to go. Time to go. And Andrew Ward...
It was Edwin Rosario. Sorry.
Wait, no, Edwin Rosario.
No, Rodriguez. Edwin Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
So anyway, all I'm trying to say is, long story short, Andrew Ward is that type of guy. He's the type of do whatever you got to do to win. Cheat, send scouts over to gyms. And I know people are going to say, well, BD, that's the way it's always been done. Yeah, you know what? There's also been a bunch of war crimes since time immemorial. That doesn't make him right. That still makes him illegal. So, hey, if you want boxers to do that and not win on their own merits, fine, man. But don't complain then when people...
And then also have every possible advantage, and you're never traveled. He picked the size of the ring, pad thickness, everything. Always had to go his way, or the fight didn't happen.
Exactly. There you go.
My thing with Ward is if he's going to do that kind of stuff, that's fine. And what I mean by fine is hone up to it and admit the fact that you won by any means necessary. I'll respect you a lot more instead of you sitting back going, I'm so naturally talented and better than everyone else. When I had a spy in this gym and I was headbutting and look, Hopkins never apologized for the headbutts he threw, ever. He never apologized for the low blows or the elbows that he threw. He just said, this is how I fight and it's old school. Deal with it. And
he learned it. He those are prison rules. He learned the box.
But a majority of people respected him for it because he didn't hide behind a persona of like, oh no, it's all in fun and game. No, he didn't do any of that. He's like, I'm trying to win. I'm trying to put food on my family's table. I'm here to be great. I'm here to be champion, and you're in my way. And that's how he was. Now, I think Ward thinks the same thing, but then he puts on the Son of God or SOG nickname and comes out here and smiles like he's like, oh, and you know what? I'd be the first to admit if anybody beat me, except he doesn't admit the fact to this day that Kovalev beat him in the first fight.
Exactly. There you go.
So it's the fakeness that people don't like about him. It's not the fact he can't fight, and his style at times wasn't that boring because if the opponent brought it to him and he couldn't outmaneuver him, he'd trade with him. He traded with Bika. He couldn't outmaneuver Bika because Bika was on his chest. So he fought with Bika. It was a pretty entertaining fight.
Very cerebral fighter.
He
was just a very cerebral. I would say Ward was a very cerebral fighter. He was he was a thinker. He did everything he had to do to win. He knew what he had to do to win in those situations.
But that's all you have to do is admit
better than his talent.
That's all you have to do is admit that 2 years. That's all I'm saying.
Let me continue. Well, I want to continue this, but before we do that, shout out to Ryu Reaper for his contribution with the super chat. He says Triple G lost a step, but also seemed very wise. Well, he did seem old, that's for sure. Old. I agree with you, Ryu. Thank you for your contribution, man. Really appreciate it. That image of yours, though, it's a little bit too satanic for my taste. I'm weary of leaving it up there on the screen. And shout out to Texas Bulldog as well for his contribution. He says, Canelo and his juicy steak stops Triple G via body shot. Whoa, okay, that's a bold prediction. But don't forget, Texas Bulldog, Triple G's got some new PEDs on his side. Did you see how fucking cut he looked? Big and cut on top of that. That you usually don't get more cut with age. So shout out to Texas Bulldog and Ryu for their contributions, guys. Really appreciate it. And let's go to a phone call, by the way. Ah, shit, they just hung up. Fuck. All right. So yeah, in regards to
quickly read something someone said in the chat.
Yes, please.
Foul Pole Boxing said something I thought was funny. He said Hopkins would even jump out of the ring to avoid losing.
Yeah, that's true. He did it 2 times. And you know what? He also said before the Trinidad fight, because remember Trinidad was people were saying that he used to low blow people to get out of trouble like he did in the Vargas fight. So somebody asked Hopkins, hey, what are you going to do if he hits you low? And he said, I'm going to hit him low first. He's preemptive strike, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Murata came after Triple G, and we all know Triple G, he's 40 now. If you come after him, that's going to play into his hands. Now, Canelo, be wise. They fought already 2 times, I know. That's not going to work out well for him either if he goes after Triple G. Now, but with that being said, that also will help out Triple G because he can buy himself some time too. He created a little space between him and Murata that if you stay away from Golovkin, that could benefit Golovkin as well because it's going to give him that little extra breather in between the action that he's got boxing intelligence that he's going to be able to do his work too. That's what I'm saying. So you don't go after Triple G from the gate because that's not going to fare well for you. But if you don't go after him as well, that is also going to help Triple G because it just gives him that little extra breathing room. That's all I'm saying, Jimmy.
And we should give him credit too for doing something he's been doing his whole fucking career is road wins. He doesn't give where it is. Like this dude's never had a home win. He's never had a fight in Kazakhstan. Any of these world champion fights. It might be his adopted home. But, Los Angeles, but how many fights has he even had there? It's not like he's got people there. You know what I mean? His, Kazakhstanians, Kazakhs. So, everybody's giving right now Haney props to going to Australia, punching his passport. But again, there's a whole Eastern Europeans been like Lomachenko, Triple G, all these guys punch their passport every fucking fight. And you don't hear nothing given for him. No credit. You'll never hear that mentioned.
You know how sometimes they say the best offense is good defense? The best offense is the best defense. Sorry, correction. The best defense is good offense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Triple G's got good offense, but he also got the chin. So where if he's got good offense and he put it on you and buy himself some time. But if you were to take a shot, that would hurt him, he also got a great chin that he also got that to rely on. Many things that these back foot fighters that are trying to buy themselves some rounds, so some time in the ring to go the distance, don't have the punching power and the chin to boot to allow them to have that comfortable space in the ring to work. You have a strong chin, you have a strong punch, you can afford to do a lot of things that those guys can.
Excellent point.
And Gonzalo, to your point, what you and Chief can both attest to this, you're both military men. The best military wins. The guys usually crush are the guys who don't sit around stagnant. You bring it to them. A good offense and everything when you're in any kind of battle. Keep the opponent off balance. You don't give him a time to, regroup. Settle in. Exactly.
Yeah, my service was a little different. I didn't go to war college, but you're still completely right.
Yeah, man, it's true because, like Gonzalo said, those attributes that Golovkin had, that's what made him so gosh darn dangerous 6-7 years ago, and still dangerous to this point right now. His career, he might not be as dangerous as he was before, but look, man, Murata, like we said, he had a lot of holes in his game. That's why we picked Golovkin to win, but it's still a big middleweight with a lot of heart and a big punch, and he went in there willing to throw a lot of shots. That's something that you didn't see a lot of guys do against Golovkin. They didn't have the firepower. Guys like Daniel Gill, Martin Murray, the good middleweights, good skilled middleweights, but they just didn't have anything. They didn't have any mustard in their shots to keep Triple G honest. Murata said, "Screw you, old man. I'm gonna try to show you're an old man," and he ended up getting chewed out and spit out. So it was a good performance, man.
And at home. Stressed that enough. At home and at home. And again, it's. Just the credit this guy has never gotten to the things he's done. It's just credible.
Hey, by the way, The Axiom, shout out to The Axiom in the chat for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Will Triple G moving up in weight, if he moves up in weight, will it slow him down more? Will he stay and rip if the Canelo forces... What did he say? Will he stay this... Oh, okay. He's saying, will he stay this ripped if Canelo forces a fight of 175? Good question, Axiom, and thank you for the super chat.
He wouldn't take that at 175. No way he'd go up 2 weight classes. That would definitely cause a problem. If he went to 168, he'll look just as lean. In fact, he'll look even a little more, probably even a little more dense. Because even at this weight, he's cutting muscle to get to 160. Not a lot, but just a little. But at 168, and if he is messing with in GH, he won't be cutting muscle, and it could actually help him.
Yeah, have you seen his brother Max? They're twins. He looks hella buff. No, he looks like a cruiserweight. Max Golovkin.
Yeah, he looks strong. Not a lot of definition, but strong. And you know what, man? I said this back in 2018 after the Canelo rematch. I said, Golovkin should move up to 168 and fight Callum Smith, because I thought he would have beaten Callum Smith, man, and he would have had that lineal 168-pound championship in his around his waist. But he didn't do it. He stayed at middleweight, and maybe to 168, he would have done him better, man, because he wouldn't have had to boil himself down to 160. It's still impressive, though. He's been making 160 since he was a professional. I mean, that's mostly unheard of. I mean, did Hagler turn pro at 160 or?
I believe so. I'll double check.
Because if so, that's a notch on both guys' belts, man. To be able to make the same, that's another dude that could have still made it the same weight was Marquez. For years, he was making 126. The only reason he moved up was because he was obsessed with Pacquiao, just like Golovkin is with Canelo. So, man, that type of discipline and those type of genetics, they come in handy when you're
he turned pro at 160 even. And Marquez was chasing Pacquiao, but he was also chasing Barrera Morales.
True, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was looking. Those were guys couldn't make weight. They had to jump up in weight because they couldn't make weight. They weren't as disciplined as Marquez. And that's an interesting thing, too. Those guys were better and more well-known in the early 2000s, but Marquez was consistent, and that consistency ended up winning in the long run. He's now considered better than those two guys. Hey, Pete, are you still there, man? I wanted to ask Pete something. Pete?
Yes, sir.
How did your nephew react to you hugging the TV early in the morning?
You know what? He was fixated on it. He loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
awesome.
another degenerate boxing fan coming through, man. We need more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and my sister-in-law were concerned. Like, I just want you to know that these two guys here, they're professionals, and they're in a sport. They are doing. This is not for you to do now. And he's like, all right, whatever.
Wait. That really happened? Or are you kidding?
Yeah, that started to happen. I told him to shut up. Just be quiet. I'm trying to watch this. Can you guys just be quiet? He's not gonna go give his fucking preschool teacher an uppercut because he's seeing Triple G. Just be quiet.
Pete's like raging.
I'm trying to watch this shit. God damn it.
Pete's like De Niro and Raging Bull. Pete's like De Niro and Raging Bull. Take the girls over there. Take the girls over there.
Yeah, I'm like LaMotta. I'm like LaMotta. Coffee.
Men are from Mars and women from Venus. We just always look at things differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men are trying to watch a live fight at 8 o'clock in the morning, and women are talking. Get out of here.
Hey guys, women can't live with them, can't live without them, right, fellas? Anyway,
don't make me some fucking.
Don't cook the steak too much. Don't overcook the steak. You want the steak?
It loses its whole purpose. Yeah.
Did you guys notice when Triple G loaded up to throw that haymaker and Murata dipped down and got away from it? That's what's most glaring to me going into like a Canelo fight. Because, Murata's not known defensively. Not that I know too much about him, but the way he moved out of the way is he looked old himself and haggard. But he still got away from Triple G's punch. Triple G missed. Like, why? Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't see it. I was watching Raging Bull. Stick to the topic there, Gonzalo. You always want to take it back to boxing. Okay. You always want to take it back to boxing. You always want to take it back to boxing. You always want to take it back. Well, there's something to be wrong with it, and I'm going to chastise. I'm going to let Gonzalo have it. I'm going to let Gonzalo. Okay, I'm trying to do my little.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to do my little LaMotta impersonation here.
Got to follow the flow of the show.
Yeah, sorry. That dude got a great chin too, man. The Raging Bull, LaMotta.
Hey, but actually, no.
BDA standing there. It's just BDA.
But he was also half retarded.
Hey, it's BDA standing there in his boxer shorts with a hoagie in his hand. My wife. Gonzalo's like, what? You fuck my wife? It started to look like something. Now it looks like nothing. He's like banging on the fucking TV. You fucking look at you fat bastard.
Hey, but Gonzalo, in regards to what's his name? Because we should get. That's why I like you, because you bring us back to boxing. Otherwise, we just start fucking talking movies. But Ryan Garcia is going to be fighting, and I know a lot of people. Jokes last night. Somebody left a comment in the comment section. He goes, "The asinine gay jokes," and I said, "Well, listen, it's a Friday night. We do have a disclaimer at the beginning of the show that we're essentially grown children here. If you want a show where guys speak with perfect diction and they just stick to boxing and they do it with clean underwear on, this ain't the show for you. We're not always going to stick to the agenda here, all right?"
BD, I was watching and I can't believe they made a whole thing about the Kate Abdul Ryan interview, that segment that if you want to go see the full interview, go to the Zone and watch it. About how he and Canelo had some beef just because Canelo mentioned his work ethic, that he had to bring it up like it was like this social media thing, man. They blow things out of proportion. So nowadays you can't say nothing about nobody because you're gonna get your panties in the bunch. You're gonna say, "Oh, he's talking shit about me, man."
That's
it's
true.
So different nowadays.
Well, it's the social media.
I just find it funny that you're talking about, the comment with clean underwear as I'm sitting here in my pajamas watching this on the TV, reading the script while we're talking, and I'm like, he's describing me. How did he know? Is there a camera in here?
Well, listen, I got a sixth sense. I got the shine. But to Gonzalo's point, yeah, man, listen, everyone has a voice now because of social media. I mean, look at us here. A couple of bumps, and we get to talk to a bunch of people or give our opinion here just because we got the internet. So now compound that with a guy like Garcia who's got millions of followers. Somebody says something about him, he's gonna say something right back. But I mean, it remains to be seen what happened between him and Reynoso. Was it really the work ethic thing? Because again, Goosen, this is what Steve Kim says. Goosen now, he learned his lesson with Chavez Jr. and he's not gonna waste his time with a guy that doesn't show up to the gym when he's supposed to. So is Goosen lying? Is he gonna cut this guy some slack, or is Garcia now invested in boxing? And we're going to see tonight.
Well, it's an interesting scenario due to the fact that Goosen's been aligned through relatives and stuff like that with PBC for a long time, and has trained Ryan, who's not aligned with that at all, and he's taken this as a project. So, and I'm sorry I jumped over a bunch of people to get this in, but apparently, by being a world-class trainer, I think he did train Michael Nunn. I know he trained the Ruelas brothers. Mm-hmm. And so he's been in the sport a long time. He worked with Diego Corrales to pull off the upset against Castillo. So it's not like he hasn't worked with real solid fighters before. So if he's picking up Ryan, there's a reason why.
And to Steve Kim's point, first off, Steve doesn't say something just for the sake of saying it. You know what I mean? And it's true. That dude, he's not going to waste his time, especially at his age. You know what I mean? He can pull his money in other ways. He doesn't need the headaches. You know what I'm saying? So he would just get out of here. I'm not going to waste my time. At that age, time is the most valuable asset you have. You're not going to waste it for a little tot who's fucking running around not showing up to fucking, practice.
At any age.
That's right. True. That's true. I mean, that's why I'm saying it. He must be taking it seriously, Ryan Garcia, right now. And let me tell you, that's why I was asking that question, because I think Tagoe he's got skills, man. And if Garcia is not in here 100%, or if he's got some rust, this is the bad guy. This is the worst guy to do it against, because he's quick, speed. He's gonna need his timing to get Tagoe out of there. So yeah, that's coming up at night. Oh, by the way, we got a phone call here. Still got a little time here on the phone lines. Let's go. 301, you're on the air. 301, what's on your mind?
Hey, guys. I decided to call back because I drove all the way to this park I usually go to, and these people are charging entry fees all of a sudden. I'm not giving them my money. Bunch of Ukrainian flag throwing liberals.
Okay, what does that have to do? Okay, well, anyway, yeah. So wait a minute, they're charging to enter the park.
Yeah,
what is it?
What does it have to do with that? Yeah, I decided to just give my thoughts on you guys mentioned Andre Ward. Oh, yeah. I guess I'll play a little devil's advocate and defend him a bit. For one, I've never heard him apologize for his ring conduct, so I don't get the sort of charge of fakeness. he's definitely kind of a resentful guy. He's kind of petty, but so are all boxers, especially guys who have like accomplished stuff in their career. I mean, he's definitely underachieved. So I guess I see that as natural. But I will say that I watched boxing before the first Kovalev Award fight. That was the fight that really got me into it, because I was pretty inspired by Virgil Hunter and his speech. You could definitely feel the emotion there. Robinson got up, you get up, you're great, and you could really see that he started to pick up the pace and put it on him. What was
listen,
that? Sorry, I can't.
When it comes to when it comes to Virgil Hunter, that's another guy that I would not let him babysit my kids. First of all, didn't he? The rumor is that he used to be a parole. The rumor is that he used to be a parole officer, and he used to take liberties with his female parolees. That's what I heard. And so
who's that?
Virgil Hunter, Ward's trainer. He used to do the old bad lieutenant. He would pull, he would do the bad lieutenant thing. He would pull girls over. Show me how you suck a guy's cock. Show me how you doing. Open your mouth and show me. That's what he used to do. Allegedly. I can't say that for sure. But yes, Colin, go ahead.
Allegedly. Oh yeah, just real quick. Speaking of allegedly, I heard in the Zone broadcast. I think it was that Chris Algieri guy. I think Conor Benn hit him a little too hard because he said, "Oh, we'll see now." Triple G, all these fighters who are allegedly scared of him. Like, motherfucker, allegedly, Felix Strum was hiding in a bunker in Germany. Refusing to even talk about him for fucking a decade. Allegedly scared of him. What are you talking about, bro? There's no alleged. People refuse to say the letter G for,
The commentating is atrocious on DAZN, man. The commentating is atrocious. The color's right.
Yeah.
They cannot get this right.
Absolutely atrocious,
they just
right?
can't seem to get their they can't seem to get their hands around this, man.
Well, listen, caller.
Yeah, every time they have a promo, right? Every time they have a promo, they try to make something look hype, like Garcia or something. They have Sergio Mora talking over it, and you're like, this is the lamest shit. I don't want to hear this.
It's almost as bad as Fox.
But before I go, Pete, you mentioned your nephew becoming a boxing fan. I think that's real great. That's some great bonding time there. But I think you should watch out for his preschool teacher more than anything.
Oh,
than the other way around, because what they're teaching kids, this day is absolutely sick.
Well,
I know it's a nice morning. I don't want to throw a cloud here, but it actually aggravates me so much.
You're gonna get Jimmy started. You're gonna get Jimmy started. He's
firing me all up this caller. Good for you, brother.
Jimmy just
Second Rennie.
Jimmy just read a Breitbart this morning before the Triple G fight, so he's all ready with the news for today's news. So anyway, listen, caller, good call, man, and thank you for your call. We'll catch you in the next one, right?
All right.
Take it easy.
See you guys later. Bye.
A good call, man. Yeah, they were charging for the park. He said, "Why do they have dinosaurs in there? Since when did they charge you to go?"
Well, probably for the Ukraine money. If there were people there with Ukraine flags, pay money to go to donate to the cause.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't mandatory. They probably weren't saying you can't come in. They were probably just,
Hey, by the way, can I say something real quick about the Zone? Yeah, the Zone. Some of the commercials they were playing, like the Ryan Garcia commercial, it was a little cringe. Like, how does it feel to knock somebody out? What the fuck? But it's not as bad as Fox's packages. Those are the worst. Fox Sports with the boxing there, they need to get somebody new on the horn there. But I wanted to say too about the Garcia fight. So yeah, we got Garcia. What
was Garcia's answer to that? When they asked him they really asked him how does it feel to knock somebody out?
In the commercial, they put they asked him the question, but they don't show the answer. I think that was from another interview. So yeah, I don't know, man. But
probably like when you first mount that hot guy.
Oh, come on, Jimmy. Jimmy, man.
All right. I'm sorry. That was low rent. I'm sorry.
Where are you?
Wait a minute. Where's my fucking Teddy Atlas? I had some Teddy Atlas quotes here while Chief was eviscerating Teddy Atlas. How about an oldie but goldie from Jim Lampley? It's his birthday today, I think. So, in honor of Jim Lampley's birthday.
Here I come. Bang! You want to throw sometime? Bang! 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 And when Pacquiao...
Come on, trade with me. I I know you want to trade with me. Like
this is this is actually what Ryan Garcia hears when he's with De La Hoya.
Keep coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna get some more angry emails, man, after this. Fuck. All right.
I think he lives in San Diego. One day in a baseball game that I went out with the veterans, he threw the first pitch. And they said, "Oh, he lives in San Diego."
Who does?
Jim
Who does?
Lampley.
So he's a pitcher,
San Diego,
not a catcher.
California.
All right.
No, he just threw the first pitch. So his birthday's not too far apart from Golovkin's because Golovkin just had a birthday too, right?
Yeah, that's what I think it's the same day. I think.
Oh, cool.
Well, listen.
I'll say this real quick. I don't know why. When I'm watching boxing, I'm just like completely focused in. I cannot. I scream at the TV only to tell the ref to get out of the way. I just blurt out things like, "Get the fuck out of here, Jack Reese." No one even knows what I'm talking about. It's like today when the girls were talking, I didn't even stop to talk to them. I just put my hand up like, "Hey, ho. I just turned it up louder." I just want to watch this fucking fight. Just give me, just be quiet and let me watch this. So the point of the matter is, my brother used to fucking flip out when Lampley would start going off. He would just go, "Got the fucking guy. I can't stand him." I go, "Billy, fuck him. Just watch the fucking fight. I can't even. Who cares what he's saying or not saying?" But I guess be careful what you wish for, because at least Jim Lampley was an actual announcer. He called live sports. He called NASCAR. He worked for NBC. He was an actual play-by-play announncer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was cheesy. Yeah, with that stupid overbite, that stupid grin with his tuxedo on. Like, Rye, what do you think, Rye? Like it. He was a little crazy that way, but at least they had a scenario where there was a play caller, a color commentator, and then a pro. Just the standard old Monday Night Football. One guy calling the action, one guy giving color commentary in between the plays, and then a third guy there for for professional, like a former pro boxer, former pro player. Mm-hmm. What they got now is just like a fucking melee in there sometimes, Yeah,
that's right. It's true.
They're trying to outdo each other, trying to outquote each other. You know what I mean? To try to get the quote of the night. It's just, it's ridiculous. Merchant would go 2-3 rounds sometimes without saying a word.
Exactly.
Because that's the best color commentator knows when not to talk. Sometimes the fight would be moving up, heating up, and Max would just go into some fucking mindless diatribe that he's been, he wrote before the fight, he memorized. This fight reminds me of the 1957. It's dude, shut the fuck up.
They hired him to be. Oh, I'm sorry. Finish. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say he didn't know when not to talk. He would talk for the sake of talking. And I think that's the worst type of color commentator.
Because they hired him to be Merchant, but he wanted to be Jim.
A lot of the words. Yeah, go ahead.
But can I say something?
He wanted to be the one doing all the talking, like I'm trying to do right now. I'm sorry.
No, you haven't. What the fuck? No. You hadn't talked in a while, man. But to your point about that, I just read, because remember, I was trying to find that article that Thunderdome brought up about Max Kellerman's brother being murdered by Butler, and there was a whole story there. The one that I read, that I have found, which I still think it's the one he read, they talked about how Max Kellerman and his brother, it's pretty well known, they used to be rappers. Okay, they wanted to be these rappers. They were from New York. They came from a pretty well-off family. They had the money and the time to invest in that project. Then they were doing the boxing thing, public access. So what happened was Max was the first one to go to LA to try to get representation. And he said apparently he was very confident. He probably because of his connections, if you know what I mean. He's part of the organization, if you know what I mean. So he walks into LA into an agent's office.
He's a crew member. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes in there. He walks into the agent's office and he goes, "I want to be 6 months from now, I want to be on TV, and 12 months from now, I want to be getting an Academy Award." And they supposedly were impressed, and they go, "All right, here you go," and they gave him a deal. So that was, I remember way back, I think it was when Jimmy first came on the show, and I'd asked him, I asked the whole panel about how come Max Kellerman was able to move from ESPN to Fox to HBO and then back to ESPN without any hitches. And that's because, Jimmy, you were right. He's got some big power agents behind him. So what I'm trying to get at is, look, there's nothing wrong if he wants to be on TV and all that, but it just goes to show you that boxing wasn't his first thing. He wanted to be an actor. He wanted to be a screenwriter. And then boxing fell into his lap. He goes, I'll do this. I'll be a boxing accomplished as
So he took
Larry
my
Merchant.
job.
Yeah. Because Larry Merchant was a writer, and he knew about being economical with his words. And, you know, like...
Exactly.
He was editor-in-chief of numerous different papers, but his love to follow, even though he followed tennis and other things also, was boxing. That's what he loved the most, and he talked about it. Actually, he talked about it on the Boxing Truth when I was with them one time. They interviewed him. I wasn't allowed to speak that night, probably a good thing. And but he went into all his different career. He worked his way up quickly and became editor-in-chief of the sports section of different papers, but he said he just always made sure he concentrated on boxing. That was his favorite. And then in doing so, he became friends with Archie Moore, and Archie Moore used to write him like 10, 12-page letters all the time, back before, when long distance cost real money, a long time ago. So they would, that's how they would communicate. But, Archie Moore would just, instead of just writing him like, hey, how you doing? And those little like texts these days, he'd write him like novels. And so they were very close friends. And it all came from him covering things.
And when Larry Merchant started too in the game, that it with boxing was still the number one sport in the United States. You know what I mean? That was like NFL is today. So
it was like that in
baseball. You know what I mean? So that was what everybody was aspiring to. Exactly. You know what I mean? He was Merchant was even at Ali Liston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's been around forever. You know what I mean? That boy's been around the game forever. Yeah, he's in the famous picture. You look between Ali's legs, you can see Merchant. Yep. Standing over Liston in the back, you can see Merchant.
Hey, by the way, fellas,
toe-headed guy in the background with his jaw dropped. That's Larry Merchant.
I'm getting 2 calls here, so we've got 8 minutes left on the phone line. So I didn't expect people to call this late, but let's go to the phone lines, man, real quick here. Let's go to 978. You're on the air. 978. What's on your mind?
Hey, BGA, Dennis calling from Boston. How are you?
Oh, Dennis, good to hear from you, man. What's up?
Yeah, good to be heard. I was just I sent in that super chat for Jimmy because I tried to call earlier when you guys were talking more about Teddy Atlas with the Teddy Atlas stuff,
Uh-huh.
And I was just wondering, like, if he kind of remembers a lot, if he remembers some of that stuff, because Teddy was like that shit crazy, like in the late '90s and everything before he got on. I think he was doing some television program, and then they let him go for a while, and then he got back on ESPN, and then he resurfaced somewhere.
I'm interested in that too, because I was.
Can
not
you guys hear me? Okay.
It. Yeah, you're good, Denny.
Yeah. Well, I think I got kind of like a bad connection. I can't really hear you guys that well, but also with the Jim Lamb,
he put a three. Well, I was going to say, Teddy Atlas put a 357 Magnum to a fucking 16-year-old Mike Tyson's temple. You got to know the dude's clearly can be unstable.
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, I heard that. I could hear bits and pieces of that. Yeah, I remember we had a little.
He messed with his
bragging about
6-year-old Tyson messed with his sister.
But go ahead,
Mike
Dennis.
messed with his sister, I guess. So
his niece.
That's why, Dennis.
Now, Dennis,
his niece. Okay.
We have a bad connection with Dennis, so let's let Dennis speak. So we go ahead, Dennis.
Okay, all right. And the other thing is I noticed that as Teddy Atlas' career moved on, and he bounced back and forth into training, and Michael Moore would talk about this a lot, that Teddy would not only have to be right about everything, but everything would have to be about Teddy. And even in between rounds, you see him sitting on the chair and different things like that when they come back into the corner. But late in his career, if you guys, I hope you can hear this too, but when he was training Timothy Bradley, he's in the corner, and Timothy Bradley's looking at him like he's almost having like Teddy's having a nervous breakdown when he's trying to use these analogies, and I know you were talking about them earlier, BDA. Crazy analogies, and he's yelling, "We are firemen. There's fire going through the bottom of the building," and you see Timmy Bradley looking at him, going, "Yeah, coach, and he's like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" It was like witnessing a nervous breakdown. Teddy Atlas is a lunatic, man, and he's changed so much that I can't even. I don't even watch his channel anymore.
the way you said that Teddy Atlas
We
is
are
a lunatic.
firemen.
Well, listen, I mean, he's not for everybody. I'm not gonna judge him too harshly, but yeah, he's not the type of guy that if you work with him 5 years, you're gonna have days with him where you're like, what the fuck is this guy all about, man? He's clearly in another dimension. But listen, Dennis, man, we gotta start wrapping it up. But anything else you want to say before we move on?
I wish I could hear you better, guys. Keep up the good job, and have a great show. I'll see you now.
All right, thank you, man. Take it easy. Thanks for calling in.
See you, Dennis.
Good call.
Yeah, we got the connection sometimes. Depends on the callers. It's sometimes they can't hear us very well. Hey, I found a Teddy Atlas quote.
Everyone forgets a few years ago, there was a woman judge, $30,000 wound up in her bank account.
If you listen to these quotes out of context, that's what makes them funny.
I put an indictment.
Did you guys hear that? It cut out. Oh.
I put an indictment on them. An indictment on them. They are corrupt. I have no problem saying it. They are corrupt.
That's just a little taste. What did you say? I'm breaking up?
No, I didn't hear the quote. The first one, yeah, it cut out the first one. But I'm going to put an indictment under what? The fucking, the court of Atlas. I'm going to put an indictment on them.
The court of Atlas.
That's how you word that. It's how you word that. You're like, I indict their, that was just weird wording.
That's back when he wanted a national commission.
Yeah. He was obsessed with that. That wasn't going to work out. Why, him and John McCain, the fucking fake veteran? Come on. All right, listen. No, actually, he wasn't a fake veteran. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. Well, what? Are you a fake veteran?
You spend that much time in Hanoi and see what happens to you.
I did spend time in Hanoi.
Where did he get that cute scar running around the side of his face? I believe he didn't fall in the shower or anything like that.
Where'd you get that scar from, little boy eating pussy?
That was from cancer. They had cancer cut out.
Really?
Oh, you're talking about Atlas. I thought you were talking about John McCain. Yeah, Teddy Atlas. I don't know. I think, wasn't that a knife slice or some shit?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Pete stole my quote.
He's had as long as I've seen him. And back when he was training Simon Brown, he still had it. So that was right after Tyson fired him.
Teenager.
Yeah, see, he's had that since he was a teenager. Exactly.
Yeah.
So he used to be he did used to be a nut job, especially as a young man.
Oh yeah, no, he's a tough kid. Atlas was a tough dude. He was a fighter and a tough kid. It's funny too because his kids are all like private school, Ivy League graduates now, and that wasn't definitely Teddy.
Yeah, you can tell he's got crazy eyes. He's got crazy face. That's for sure. And hey, mate, like I said, maybe that works for some people, man. His approach.
But think about this, dude. He was in his 20s and he still was smart enough to know to bring a fucking pistol when he confronted fucking Tyson. He didn't do it hand to hand. He had to pull out a Trooper Reb K3 to his temple.
Right. Yep. Well, I would have done the same thing, man. Hey, by the way, fuck. This is a.
Hey, fuck you, man!
No, wait. Who is it?
I want to talk. Who put this? Yes, I want.
Fuck. I can't find the quote that Pete said.
I got fucking diapers.
No, that's
Go
not
ahead and kill me, you cocksucker.
Nah, that's not it. Fuck, I don't have it. All right, forget about it. What was I gonna say about Teddy Atlas? Yeah, listen, Teddy Atlas. But now I don't wanna rag on Mauro Ronaldo too much because he does seem like he's a cool dude, but he's another guy that at this. Am I wrong, guys? At this point in our ages, we can watch.
Mauro Ronaldo is the king of the hyperbole. He's a donkey. Some of the shit he says. Tries to make every fight he's calling like it's the fucking greatest fight in the history of mankind.
Well,
and when you do that, you
by name.
Yeah, well, it's Showtime, Mauro Ronaldo. He's been with Showtime. He's been with everybody. He's the rock and roller. What they call him, the Ayatollah rock and roller. But he's got fucking 90 seconds. He's got what do they call of mental disease? Yeah, he's got manic depressive and shit, and he. Get all kinds of. They did a special on him on TV.
I think
he's a lunatic.
He's an announcer. He's an announcer, guys. He's just got that cheesy pro wrestling type of.
Exactly, pro wrestling. That's the key. That's the key. The pro wrestling. That's where he made his bones.
He's got his little quirks about it, like Lampley did. Had that straight, but they're there to try to make it as exciting as possible. So yeah, he's fucking he's cringingly funny. Like his head's going back like a pest dispenser south of the border. You know what I mean? Just like he's being like
he's the wordsmith. Like that's one thing he's good with. He comes up with all these crazy words and shit.
He's like a social
but I don't hate Ronaldo. In fact, I think he calls it when it's a great fight, his kind of announcing does a great job. And to be honest with you, when Showtime recently, he's been very honest. He's like brought up fighters from Top Rank when other guys with the network, like Al Bernstein, like I'm not losing my job. Like he's never the first one to bring somebody else up.
You know what? Yeah, the Showtime.
Ronaldo, to his credit, has been calling out PBC fighters.
The Showtime thing
He's
is
loud and lively. He kind of drowns out. What's the boxer name? Abner Maris. He's kind of like mellow. He kind of runs him. He talks over him.
Abner needs a little more.
Morales takes volumes.
Play by play. You should be able to close your eyes and listen to these announcers call this fight and envision it in your head like you're listening to a game on the radio. Does anybody remember the radio? Anyway, no, you listen to a game when you're driving, a football game or a baseball game. You should be able to imagine in your head what's going on. So as cheesy as Ronaldo was with his fucking, he's beating him like an internet troll. I'm sure fucking Bernstein didn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what is he talking about?
Bernstein. Al Bernstein's sitting there going, "What?
What the fuck?"
Al Bernstein.
He's the one who said the fucking beating him like a rented mule.
Yeah, but the thing is, at least they had the proven, established for 50 fucking years of broadcasting setup.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
Announcer, Lampley, Ronaldo, Howard Cosell, whoever. Then you have an analyst, which is like Fight Doctor Freddie Pachenko. Like a goddamn a merchant, like a Bernstein.
Bob Sheridan.
And then you have a former competitor, like a Paulie, like a Mares, like a how do you call it? Like a George Foreman or like a Roy Jones
Foreman
Jr.
or Leonard, the good
Timothy
ones.
Bradley, the Snake. What's
Roy
his
Jones
name?
Jr. But the problem nowadays, the problem with the current setup is this: you don't have a play-by-play announcer at all. None of these broadcasts have an actual play caller. They all have when you're talking about Lampley and when you're talking about Kellerman and Merchant on the same broadcast, why it was so fucking annoying is because they're both trying to do the same job. So it's
That's true.
One pontificates, the other one pontificates. One pontificates, the other one pontificates. You know what I mean? Like, where's Roy Jones to fucking tell everybody, he's hurt?
Exactly.
You remember watching those fights and Lampley be like, I don't know what's going on, Roy. And Roy goes, he's hurt, Jim. He's hurt. That body shot hurt him, Jim.
He never said that.
Fight.
He never said that. What's going on, Roy?
What's going on? Does Triple G just want him to is he trying to entice these people? No, I don't think it's that, Jim. You know what I mean? Is he just trying to get him to engage with him? Like he's confused sometimes. He's got.
Well, can I say something, Jimmy? Can I say something?
Yes.
I wanted to say something earlier. I wasn't ragging on Mauro Ronaldo. Well, but to Pete's point is that he's saying that it's like a radio thing. That's the problem. It's not radio. It's TV. So he shouldn't be talking nonstop. But I do like Mauro Ronaldo's energy. And the guy that did stop talk nonstop was fucking the Colonel, Bob Sheridan. He wouldn't fucking shut up. And being here in Canada, we had to, whenever you bought a pay-per-view for a fight, sometimes we would have to get the international feed. That's all we would get, not the HBO one. So we would have to endure this fucking guy calling the action. Every single punch thrown, every feint, every slip of a punch, he was calling it, and it was annoying, man.
You know what's funny? Is that all of us have our. I just lock into anything can be going around me and I'm just watching the fight, but it does annoy people. Like my brother can't stand Lampley. Even when he opens his fucking mouth, he fucking goes, you can hear him grinding his teeth. You talking about these Canadian broadcasters, these guys over in the UK talk about, I don't even know their names, but some of these broadcasters, they can't stand them. It drives them nuts. All I'm saying is be careful what you wish for, because what you got now is like a free for all. It's like who are these guys? It's like who's on the Zone broadcast? It's who are these guys? Sergio Mora,
Chris Mannix,
and who's the third one? There's a third one there,
Yeah,
And
what's the other guy's name?
they're all just shitting on each other. It's that they're all just like fucking mumbling.
Well, Mannix and Mora literally can't stand each other. Like literally hate each other.
And that
So
goes back
it's
to
a weird comment. Like, why would you do that though? If I was the zone, I wouldn't.
That too. Yeah, but I'm saying they're bickering with each other. Nobody's calling the action. So what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
When I watch those UK fights, those Carl Froch fights, and those, I love that fucking commentary. But I don't love them because I know those people. They might annoy me maybe if I really listen to them very closely. But at least they had the standard setup. What you have now is just three guys talking during a fight. You might as well have my fucking wife and my sister-in-law talking during the fight today. It's exactly what it reminds me of. It's just like chatter. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to turn it up louder. You're not going to be able to overcome my surround sound. I'm just going to kick the volume up.
Sergio Mora and Timothy Bradley, the boxing, like the ex-boxers, they always share something that I pick up on, or at least if I'm not paying too much attention, they get me to where I need to pay attention because what they said, now I kind of like get it. And then I start focusing on the words and what I'm seeing in the ring. Yeah, they're on point, most of those guys. They're not the most entertaining or lively. Yeah, Timothy Bradley's pretty lively and entertaining, but Sergio Mora, he's kind of like, what's the word? He's kind of like mellow or not too exciting, but he's good. He's got boxing.
It's interesting. Somebody brought up the fact that Merchant was basically a reporter. He started off as a journalist. So that's the value of a guy like that. He's just giving a little bit of an editorial, like a sports writer on the mic when it's appropriate, right? Mm-hmm. So if you get three guys that know their roles, like Roy, Merchant, and Lampley were fun. It's interesting once in a while to, in between fights, you can't have Lampley just jabbering on, the announcer just yapping on in between the fights. Someone's got to give some fucking background to this,
But the one good thing about Lampley, when he was with HBO, its height, excuse me, they knew the role of HBO. They knew the importance it was to get a spot on HBO. You were lucky to do it, so they had no problem calling out fighters when they were boring or doing a terrible job. The problem with the Showtime guys and Morrow, it's sell the fighters, no matter how good they're doing, how bad they're doing. Like, you watch that Montel fight. If they were honest, they should have been saying, there's no excuse for him to be struggling and going 12 rounds with this dude. Well, only Ronaldo, when that fight was the one who actually touched on it, he kind of said, well, you would expect him to, make shorter work or someone like this with the pedigrees and whatnot. But it's because they're selling the network now more, I think, what bothers me.
And what Pete was getting to towards the whole thing, Merchant goes up afterwards as the reporter, and they'd interview him. And I still remember to this day, back in '98, it was I didn't have a chance to watch a lot of fights back then. When I was going through basic training in tech school. But they actually showed the fight at the Enlisted Club one night. It was Junior Jones versus Eric Morales. And Junior Jones beat Barrera twice, then loses to Kenny McKinney, and this is his fight to try and get back on top, and Morales destroys him in 4 rounds. So right afterwards, they're like, hey, we got a new start 122. Let's not find out more about him. So Merchant decides to ask Junior Jones about the whole thing. So how good was he? And, of course, Junior Jones, being self-absorbed, is, well, I fought better, and he's not that good, but, I mean, he showed up tonight, but, I wasn't at my best, and well, if this guy just knocked you out in 4 rounds and he's not that good, what does it say about your career at this stage? And puts the mic right back in Junior Jones's face.
No, wait a minute.
He completely flipped his story of, oh, okay, I'm insulting a guy that just destroyed me, which makes me look bad. Yeah, he wasn't that bad. He's right. He just totally called him out on it.
Yeah,
and,
man, I remember.
These days, people say on the internet, say terrible things about not Jim Lampley, Larry Merchant, about that. Oh, he's this, he's that. He doesn't know box. No, he was doing what he needed to do as a journalist to find out what he wanted to know. If you're bragging about yourself and you just lost, and this guy's not that good, and I can tell he's good, I'm gonna have to get it out of you another way than asking a direct question. So let's change the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, I want to, because we have to go soon, very, very soon. So just shout out to John Gonzalez for his contribution with the super chat. He says, I hate watching fights I'm invested in with people. I watch it alone and anxious. When I watch it with people, I hear dumb opinions and racial slurs. Okay, who the fuck are you watching the fight with, man? Racial slurs.
Shout out to JG.
He's watching it with David Duke or something. But yeah, go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yeah.
Who you...
It's very
clan meeting.
Now,
We're gonna have a
nowadays.
pay-per-view at the clan meeting tonight.
Yeah, nowadays it's like you almost like when you're listening to these people, you almost know what they're gonna say because everybody like when the boxing shows, a lot of times we know what people are gonna say. It's very regurgitated. It's like triangle theory. Oh, he's doing this because of that, and when these people are talking, they go off of that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing that the
It's nothing
casuals.
original.
Yeah, the casuals, they go for that shit. Hey, by the way, before we go, just remember, no matter what gripes you may have with the Showtime announcing crew, the Zone, ESPN, they're never going to be as crazy as this guy.
You looked great. You feel great. You were amazing. And guess what? Now it's my turn.
Hey, Mario, have you ever, I know, were you hanging out with Snoop? Because I see that Snoop is fight on. Baby, come on.
That is in shape.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
know
the way
you're
he's making a miss.
Al, I know you're a straight arrow guy, but how is it feeling high for the first time?
Well, I will say this is probably the first boxing broadcast on which I've gotten a contact.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say it's
you
the
have,
first one.
You have a cocktail. Yeah, so do I. So.
And it's the first one to actually get a contact
Mario,
high while you're in,
Mario, what do you think, Mario?
Hey,
Poor fucking Al Bernstein in the middle of those. Oscar coked out of his mind. Who else? Mario Lopez just having fun. They're probably a little drunk himself. that was for anybody that doesn't know. That was a Triller commentary for the Jake Paul versus what was the guy's name there with the afro with the Jufro the wrestler UFC guy. Anyway, yeah, that was you can still watch that the best of De La Hoya from that fight. Did you see how he was staring at Chris Cunningham? Look at this. This is De La Hoya staring at Cunningham. Man. Look at that look.
Well,
What the fuck is that, man?
Body's tight.
His body's tight. All right, man. Well, listen.
Toy like a toiga.
He looked like what?
Yeah, my mind just went blank. Gold member Austin Powers when he's doing the Danish guy.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, it's time to go.
Toy like a toiga.
Yeah, I was watching some videos on his girlfriend today. Holly Saunders, Six Office, used to do commentary. Man, she looks like she's made out of plastic. De La Hoya probably could do better than her. But yeah, it's crazy. De La Hoya's taste.
Yeah, she's who knows what. Is he officially divorced or what's going on there with Oscar?
No, he's separated. I think he just supports his wife and when she does right.
Interesting, man.
But he's still married though.
At least she's not jailbait. He's not messing around with the jailbait anymore. Dude was getting 15-year-old girls pregnant and shit when he was the world champion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
notoriously fucking banged little young girls. He liked them young.
All right. Well, that's on that note. We gotta go. Hey, this show is degrading into what people are gonna complain about later on. So shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to everybody that jumped on the panel. Good talking to you, fellas. Nice little. What's that?
Oscar's gonna be there in that fight, no, and his girl. They're gonna be there supporting Ryan Garcia.
Probably.
We'll see what happens later on today.
Coked out of their minds as well. Why not? You gotta have fun when you go out. Hey, shout out to Sean Newton for dropping by. Boxing with Sean Newton. Check him out. Check out Sean Newton. He's still going strong. He's like Golovkin, consistent all around throughout the years, man. Nothing but consistency.
Oh, wait, is he in the chat? Sean?
I think that's the real Sean. I haven't verified, but yeah, if it is, shout out.
Yeah, and I watched some Sean videos. He is definitely consistent, man. He gets into it with some of them other channels. He enjoys it seems.
He likes it, yeah. He likes to go toe to toe with those guys, man. So why not? We need somebody to do that, man. Take care of everybody.
Sean Newton, I called him Kurt Russell in his chat, and he thought it was funny. He was laughing. You look like Kurt Russell.
He does look like Kurt Russell a little bit. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and he sounds a bit like too. You're right. That's a good call. All right, well, listen, fellas, we got to go. Hey, this was the first. I think this was the first, the shortest space between shows. We went off the air last night at 8 p.m. and then we went on the air here 9 a.m. So shortest turnaround ever. Anyway, listen, fellas, thank you for joining us, everybody. Pete, who do you have? Pete, Chief, Jimmy, Gonzalo. I'm hesitating here because I think I'm missing somebody. Who else was here? I think that's about it, yeah. And all the callers, of course, thanks to everybody that called in, everyone that donated the super chat, really appreciate you guys. Everybody in the chat room, of course, really appreciate you guys. for listening and always giving us your support. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out if you haven't liked already. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that. And that's about it. Fellas, thanks again for joining us. We will be back tomorrow, depending on what happens today, if it's exciting enough and worth the show. And don't forget, Ryan Garcia, Tagoe, Lubin versus Fundora. Can't wait for those fights. They're very interesting on paper. And we'll catch you in the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Oh, no, hold on. Shout out to Iron Fist, Montbrink, Oscar de la Coca, John Gonzalez, The Affirmation Boxing with Sean, Iron Fist, who else? Rex, Knockout Ned, Rod Davis. Shout out to Rod Davis, Joker, Nes Mendoza, One Foot Out the Door. Shout out to One Foot, the Quags. And if I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go. But thanks again, guys. You know who you are. John Gonzalez. Talk to you later. Take it easy, folks. Thanks for watching.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you.